Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah.
Hey, here
What's
we
happening?
are.
What's going on?
It's the ultimate Cleveland sports show. Jay is off today. We got a fourth chair today because Jake Trotter of ESPN will join us later to talk about the Cavaliers. We got Brad, we got G.
We're talking Browns. Jake Trotter
about the
not
Browns,
going to talk
excuse
the
me.
Cavs.
We will talk about the
be funny.
Cavaliers in just a moment. But first, we got to talk about BetJack, which set the line on my sick talk yesterday, and we went under the BetJack line on that one.
Yeah, you
won that, man.
crushed
Shout
the
out
under.
to
That
that,
was
man.
impressive. I
Yeah.
give you all the kudos in the world, Bull, for that. I just booked my workout class for tomorrow during the show right there. Okay, BetJack
Good.
time. BetJack is the sports book of the ultimate Cleveland sports show. They have lines on everything from NBA, NFL, NHL, baseball. How long Bull will do his opening monologue, you name it, we got it with BetJack. They are the sports book. They are live. The casino-like setup in the casino at BetJack down on Public Square is awesome. Download the BetJack
Very
app.
nice.
It is not only Ohio's sports book, it is also the official sports book of the Ultimate Cleveland
I
Sports
do
Show.
got to ask a question. Now, Brad, are there like? Well, see, you can't even answer this question. They don't let mayors gamble. We're going to assume that you ain't. He's above board. He's never gambled. But if you did have a game of choice, which you would put a wager down, what would be your game of choice? Are you a poker guy? Are you a tonk, a bid whiz, a spades? What do you do?
I'm a tonk, bid whist, blackjack.
Yeah.
Maybe depending on how if I'm feeling froggish, a little roulette game.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
See, you've probably been witness to a lot of high stakes games.
Here. So yes, I've seen a lot of. Matter of fact, we were used to travel on the Bulls plane, right?
Right.
This was before we were on the Bulls plane. We were on flying commercial, United. We had a whole plane. They had two leagues, and we used to all sit in first class, right? So Michael created these two leagues on the plane. Right?
Two leagues.
Two leagues, right? Tunk League.
Right.
Big money. You had the Major League and the Minor League.
You had to move up.
The minor.
So the Minor League was the scared bettors, scared to put any money down, right? And then every now and then they would jump into the Major League with the big boys.
Right.
He's standing there with a wad, like, come on in the Major League, right? And then their goal was to break you from coming in the Major League. You go down to the Minor League and stay down in the Minor League.
Hey, I'm in the minors. If you take $100 from me, you ain't seeing me the rest of the week.
Man, you can't go 30 seconds without somebody putting their bets up on Twitter. It's just crazy
It's
right
crazy
now.
right now.
Yeah, everybody's you got to be smart about your betting though. Like, don't just doing parlays all the time is probably not the best move.
Parlays are fool's gold.
Yeah.
If you want to win actual money, just bet individual games.
Yeah,
Trust me, ask Tyvis last night.
Yeah, I'm a retired bettor myself, but I could clean up betting baseball. I know that, but I think baseball's a sneaky good sport to bet on.
Yeah, there's a lot. You know what? I think a lot of people right now riding that wave. Shout out to them, man. When they say it's a lot of free $200 rolling around.
Yeah.
It's a lot of free $150.
Hey, as long as you're having fun and not betting over your head, it's a ton of fun.
Yeah, it
it's
is.
great. So have fun, be smart about it. Guys, let's talk about the Cavaliers last night, and Cavs win the game. But that wasn't the story of the game.
No, that wasn't the story.
It was Dillon Brooks with the punk move, in my opinion, Brad.
Tell him what the punk move was.
Well, he punched him in the balls.
We got video.
Oh, we got video. Here we go.
Okay.
Take it, Mike.
So here we
Little
go.
play-by-play.
It's a little hard to see, but Dillon Brooks is on the ground.
There's
Now,
a replay coming in a sec that gives
okay.
you a better angle.
when you see it from the other angle, you could tell that Dillon Brooks sees that Donovan Mitchell, who he has a beef with, is behind him, and then he reaches his arm up and punches back. It was clear as day. Now, did he purposely mean to hit him in the balls? I don't know. He purposely meant to punch him, 100%, guys. I thought that, and he didn't care if he hit him in the junk. I thought
Here's
this
the
was
angle where you could really see it.
Yeah. Watch this.
Come
and
on,
he,
bro.
right before that, he peeked back. You could see it when he landed. Watch this. You see, look at him. Watch, he looks.
Yep.
He sees him, and then he punches him in the balls. Brad, you've been around all kinds of nonsense on the court before.
Come on.
I mean, is this the lowest move, hitting somebody like that?
Well, it's cheap to be frank, right?
Yeah.
And then so these some new wave dudes, right? Because you'd have got your ass beat.
Oh,
fooling
my
fooling
God.
around with us, right? It would have been no question.
Yeah.
No question, right? And then so and I'm not promoting violence here, but I like here. There was some reciprocation from Donovan Mitchell last night that was required, right? The question in town is, do the Cavs have a pulse, right?
Right.
That nobody, look, I can't remember the last time somebody squared up with somebody except J.R. Smith around here.
Ever.
Right. Maybe Tristan
Now,
one
there's
time.
less players like that in general in
No,
the
but
NBA.
here's the
but
deal.
There's got to be somebody.
There's a line of demarcation.
Yeah. Right.
You cross it, there's consequences.
Hey,
and that's what
right.
happened last night. And so I think what everybody in the place was appreciative of was after they saw the video and the replay.
Yeah.
Oh, he was well within his right to throw that ball at him.
No doubt. But here's my beef with it: is when somebody did something nasty to Michael Jordan, it wasn't Michael Jordan having a fight, right? It was one of the bad boy. Well, bad boys the Pistons, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it was one of the Charles
Oakley,
or whoever it was. Somebody was stepping up there to kick some ass.
Bill
for him.
Cartwright. They had dudes like that back in the day, and he right. Like you go watch when Michael Cooper and Mikhail is throwing hands.
When they clothesline them and Parrish and Parrish and Lambeer got into it.
Oh,
yes.
They throwing hands like here, and here's what I like. I like about it. First of all, I like what he did, but I also like what he said. Yeah. I think your boy Donovan Mitchell, after the Cavs losing some of those games, man, I think he put it out, and he was signaling to other teams. Players in the NBA know when it's a nationally televised game. They know what it is. And Donovan Mitchell will say, "Hey, look, this is what we're gonna get down with. We're not gonna take that."
Be clear. You see in the quote here, right? And so the line has to be drawn. First of all, in my day, you knew who the bad dudes were, right?
Right.
And you knew if you crossed the line, the bad dudes was going to lay it on you, right? So you knew Horn and Lambeer and Isaiah and them, they were going to do you, right? And that's just how it was. Now, this is my issue here. The Memphis Grizzlies, and I think somebody, one on TNT guys were saying, they do a lot of talking.
Yeah, they do.
But it ain't real talking, right? Because you see when they got into the thing with Shannon Sharp, they talking as they walk into the locker room.
Yeah.
Now, Shannon Sharp stood on the sideline. Shannon Sharp did not move at all. He said, "Come on over here and say it to me over here." And then what Shannon Sharp did tell him was this. And this is Brooks, same dude, right? He said this: "You don't want these problems." And he mean it. You don't want these problems, right? And as I ain't see Brooks come over there to the problems.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
He kept walking.
Hey, see, football players got
And
hands.
I like, what is Morant? I said, what are you doing over here?
Like, yeah, you not.
You gonna catch a beat down.
And his dad brokered the deal.
Right.
He signed the peace treaty. But the thing
What he signed?
He signed that peace treaty.
What about did you see that coach
Yeah, he signed
on the Memphis Grizzlies?
Who tackled
This guy.
Tackled
Mitchell.
Brooks.
He saved Mitchell.
Yeah.
Save Brooks.
Yeah, he jumped. By the way, that was impressive because Brooks is a bigger guy than Mitchell.
Man, let me say him.
He kind of threw him down.
He wasn't strong as Mitchell because Mitchell threw him down.
He did.
And then he saved him because I'm gonna just tell you, Brooks was about to get these prayer hands.
Yeah,
he was.
His hands.
No, but
He
I'm
about to
saying,
get these prayer hands
I
that
was impressed with Mitchell because Brooks is a little bigger, and yet Mitchell took him and threw his ass on the ground.
Hey, Boo, you can't be impressed with nothing that Brooks does. The man has.
No, I mean I was impressed with Mitchell.
I mean, Brooks got that long hair like he Pocahontas. He looking, he like, come on. He got the
What's
two.
he like?
He Pocahontas. He got the two ponytails with the baby hairs laying down.
got the baby
He
hairs
got the baby hairs slicked down. I'm like, bro, you way too pretty up top to be talking about you a thug. You not, And he does that. He does that all the time. And you know how he knew he did it on purpose?
Mikey, find that clip where Shannon Sharp was like, "You don't want these problems."
Man,
Although the one guy Shannon Sharp didn't mention was Adams.
Adams didn't want the
No,
problems.
Steven Adams does not want.
He don't
Steven
want the
Adams,
problems
the one
either.
in the league you don't want problems
I don't know.
with.
No, let me tell you something. Have you seen Shannon Sharp?
I know, but Shannon Sharp's old.
Look, let me tell you something. The one thing you see about this is how old school dudes know who for real and who's not, right? When all that commotion was coming, right? Shannon Sharp didn't take one step back.
He didn't.
No,
but
he
I didn't
didn't.
like what he did.
No,
though.
I'm
he
not
shouldn't
here.
be involved with the players.
I'm giving you the semantics
I hear
of the
you.
scenario.
I hear you.
I said when them problems came up, you got some dudes having problems, they start walking back.
Right.
Hold me back, dude. Hold me back.
Right, yeah,
See,
yeah.
he's like, nah.
Shannon Sharp used to block defensive ends. Like,
Yeah.
he
Do you
got
guys
hands.
think the
like,
Cavs need a tough guy on this team? Like, are
Every
they missing
team,
that?
every team need a tough guy.
They need two.
So if there was a question about who was the unequivocal leader of the Cavaliers, you saw it last night.
Yeah.
Because he was the only one getting up ready to throw hands.
And he was ready. He did it in a way. If you look at it, I think he was 1 for 7 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
1 for 7, 2 points, really didn't do it. Garland had it moving, right? And so he understood the room. I love the fact that he understands what the climate of the opportunity is, because there was JB a couple of days ago was a little defensive. I didn't like a couple of games they was losing.
Yeah.
He's saying they're younger. We got to figure it out. And Donovan Mitchell was saying, and I like what he said in his comments. He said, look, if we having these problems today, fine. We still having these same problems come, April or May, we're going to have a problem. And the thing that Donovan Mitchell has over everybody that's right now playing for the Cavs is all the nice stories of happy to be here. Donovan Mitchell played on teams that was number 1 and 2 seed in the West. He played on teams that won a first-round playoff game. He been an all-star. That is not where he want to be at. He's like, we can't be happy to be.
We can't be happy with
fifth
it.
in the East. We looking for something bigger. And I think he went ahead and sold this one out and said, all right, well, I'm gonna prove a point. It's on national TV that you're not about to do this while I'm here, especially if I'm playing in Cleveland.
And Darius Garland played a great game, and they pulled away there late. I know Memphis was without Jaren Jackson.
Yeah.
Did you see the stats on him, by the way? Like they're
so much better with him on the court than when he's
well,
off.
but also at home, his numbers at home versus.
But he's better when Steven Adams is on the floor.
Yeah, that's true.
That has been proven.
They've
right?
been a bad rebounding team without Steven Adams.
You see, they've lost 7 out of 8.
Yeah.
And so when Steven Adams is not there,
Yeah.
it's a different setup, right? Steven Adams takes up a lot of smoke.
Yeah.
He does, right? And you start to see that on every team. And back to your question about, you have to have a tough guy on the team. Because
how many guys like that are there anymore?
Well, we don't know now because they won't allow you to know.
I know.
That's the
I
problem.
love the on-court scuffles. I always thought that was a fun part of basketball.
And it's not. And I tell people it's not malicious. Bull is not malicious.
No.
It's not. It's a part of the game. It has to be.
I think it's a missing part of the game.
When you cross, that's why I like the hockey boys. When you cross the line, cross the line in there,
That's about to say
you're
that.
gonna get these hands.
That's right.
Yes, you are.
They're not worried about the NHL taking care of the problem. They take care of themselves, and I think that's a missing part of the NBA. And I think the league is so scared because of what happened with the Malice at the Palace that they're so afraid something like that's going to happen again that they've pushed all the fight, not necessarily fighting, but just some of the
we're not here promoting fighting. That's not what we're doing.
No, not fighting,
right,
but toughness.
Because there's a thing here. You see when Ohio State and Michigan get together in a football game at midfield, when you gonna get these hands up in here, right? You have to establish your territory and be like, this is not going to occur here, because what happens in sports when people perceive that you soft and won't respond, they keep coming.
Do you think the Cavs have that reputation of being a soft team right now?
Of course.
Yes, because they're not soft. They're just nice guys, but you got to have some dudes that just like, they don't care.
But Brad, you know this. That has always been the mantra of the Cavs. When they had Lenny Wilkins, he might as well have been a preacher. Back when y'all was playing him in the 80s, the Bulls came in. Now, look, it's a different level of saying the Bulls got to play the Cavs. When you say Bulls play Cavs, let's execute. When you say Bulls versus Pistons, get ready to strap it on.
Look, we coming like tool up.
Tool up.
Tool up. It's coming.
It's different.
It's coming.
Tool up. And you can't take, and I like what you said about the hockey thing. You can't, nobody wants to go out here, this ain't UFC, right? But at the end of the day, you can't take aggressiveness out of sports. It's just what it is. You got grown men that have dedicated their life. It's a physical game. There's gonna be altercations.
The NBA has found a way to legislate toughness out of the game because they think it doesn't sell, and it's a part of the game.
Right.
There's a line. Can you go too far sometimes? You absolutely can. But it's a part of the game. You have to have it, right?
But don't you think part of it, Brad, is like the way they play? Like when you played, every team, not every team, but almost every team had a real center, And those centers would battle. It would be physical. The power forwards, it'd be physical in the paint, back to the basket. And that game.
It's a finesse league.
Right. It's all finesse
finesse
now
league.
in the NBA.
Well, here and what is irritating to purists of the game is they miss that element, right? Because it's a natural part of the game, right?
Yeah.
First of all, let me tell you something. You got people scoring 50, 60, 50. This is ridiculous. I was like 50,
50 doesn't
60.
even mean
It
nothing.
don't even mean
50
right.
used to be like, you hit 50, you were like, oh my God.
You go for 40.
You going off.
You 40
now
was
it's like 50 is like the new 15.
It's just you do bring that up. Nowadays you see there's a more wide variety of guys that are able to play, like that play different positions. Like, but I mean, you go back in the day, everybody was a power forward. Like Xavier McDaniels, Charles Smith, you had Oakley, you had Anthony Mason, you had, I'm like, how many power forwards did the Knicks got? They got all power forwards and John Starks. That's it. Ron, you got Mark Jackson and Harper, and them dudes, they was even bullies. And I see Harper backing guys down. You backing dudes down in half court.
I'm looking at like when you look at like it's amazing. And Ja Morant is a talented player, right? He got enough physical talent that is amazing to watch, right? But this rearing up, dunking on people, no, one time, just one time. One time.
Hey, hey, OG, y'all didn't play that?
Ask Rick Mahorn. I got to get my boy Ricky on here. I said, ask Ricky what would happen.
He took that as a offense, like it was a video, like somebody called you out your name.
Your name. Like cursed out your mom.
Right. He was like, well, you got the nerve to raise up on and dunk on me like you. Like, what? Like, that was wow.
And that felt like, I don't know, as a fan when you played, Brad, like, it felt to me like whenever there was a new team coming up, whether it was the Sixers or the Celtics or the Bulls or the Lakers or the Pistons, you had to prove that you could physically play with
that you could stay here.
That's how the Pistons pushed the Bulls,
that's how it was, right?
I mean, that's how it was. And then the Knicks eventually.
We were taking lumps at first.
Yeah.
Like, you go down the lane, like, man, do I really want to go down there with them? Because it's going to be a mess, right? And then
it was not just about basketball. It was about, are you man enough to play with those guys?
Are you mentally tough enough?
Yes.
I'll tell you another thing, the baseball boys. When you cross the line of baseball boys, they will, you going to answer the bell here.
Yeah.
It could be
they put one between your shoulder blades.
Like, let's say when the pitcher throw one at the baseball guy at the batter head, right? And you see when he flipped the bat and you're like, oh, I'm coming to get you.
Yeah.
Because you know when you've crossed the line here.
Right.
But the league has to figure out what it is trying to accomplish here.
Yeah.
But trying to legislate people out of it is not the answer.
Hey, Brad, real quick, I got a question and we'll move on to our viewer's choice. What's the difference, and can you explain to us fake toughness in basketball versus real toughness in basketball? Because we see a lot of these.
Oh, yeah.
Even last night. I mean,
a lot of fake tough guys.
A lot of fake tough guys. And last night, like, no punches were thrown. I know Mitchell did throw Brooks, but compared to your day, there's no haymaker.
Okay, so
kind of bring us inside the mind of what actually is real toughness on a basketball court.
So fake toughness is what you see in today's game. Because they know the rules don't allow for you to get physical with anybody and have some repercussions, right? Right. And they know that if there's something that happens, there's going to be some major suspension or something going on, some major money loss, right? So the rules are predicated that there's no. So you see a lot of this. Tip, keep talking, right? You hold me back. Hold me back.
I'm about to fight.
Right.
Hold me back, dog.
Yeah.
Now, real toughness, Mikey, is this. Pull up those 80 clips when the Celtics clothesline Kurt Rambis on the layup.
Took him out of the air by the shoulders.
When Mahorn nailed Mark Price in the head before the playoffs that helped us come by and get them, right? Yeah, that's how we got them, right, in game one. The Bulls came back and got the Cavs in game one because of Price sat out the first game, right? Those are, and then you knew there were certain people that you did not mess with. Charles Oakley was one of them, you know. Barkley would do another, right?
Yeah.
Current time, Shaq was another, right? Xavier McDaniel was another. Buck Williams was another. Every team.
Kevin Willis.
Yeah, I said every team has somebody that you would have to answer the bell to if something got out of line.
Right? Otis Thorpe, sharp elbows.
And so it was just like, and now they've taken that player out of the game,
Yeah,
right?
player.
The player is really not here anymore, right? And they're not saying that they're not tough. They've just taken that element of the game away and trying to package it, right? Well, but the real fan understood this, Mikey. Playoff time, they knew there was a thing called hard fouls. It wasn't malicious trying to hurt people, but you know, there's no layups here.
Right.
Hard foul. Go to the line and make some free throws, right? They've taken that away now. If you even attempt a hard foul now, you getting kicked out.
Yeah, and they're going to review it, flagrant
And by the way,
flagrant 2.
Is that in the rules that if you throw the basketball, you get
Yes.
kicked out of the game?
Yeah.
It's a stupid rule.
So
He was provoked.
And I tell
mean,
you a
come on.
place where it really does a disservice to. Now, when you went into Madison Square Garden, it was tough.
Oh, yeah.
You had to play tough in there, right? So they've taken all that away.
Yeah.
So the backbone of New York is a city of toughness. So you just legislated that out of New York. And New York is where the game was really sprung from, right? So now you can't even be tough in New York.
The East, the hard, you know,
City courts.
the Daryl Dawkins and
Maurice Lucases
and the Philadelphia, East Coast. I love the fact that back in the day you had East Coast basketball. And even the Celtics was going to play that Robert Parrish. They're going
Go
East
back,
Coast,
not even in the NBA. Go back and watch 1980s Big East basketball.
Oh, stop.
See what those games were like.
Oh yeah, no, that was tough.
I mean, those were wars.
So you think about it now. Who are really the tough guys?
There's only a sprinkling of them.
in the
There's
NBA.
not many. What's those two brothers' names?
The Morris twins.
Morris
Yeah.
Those guys are tough.
Morris guys.
But they're few and far between.
They're few and far.
Guys now.
And they might be in the game, not even getting the game, right? So
Right, they're almost out.
Because they won a 3 and D, and you got to be able to hit a jump.
Guys, rapid fire last thing before we get to fan questions right now. Does this game get the Cavs on a roll, yes or no?
I think it sets the tone for the leadership in the room.
Yeah.
They're still missing a guy.
Yeah.
They're still missing a guy.
And again, it was at home. They're a
Right.
different team at home.
I like what it did. I think Evan Mobley's been playing more aggressive.
Yes, he
I
has.
do too.
Yes, he has.
He's
And I
playing
like
really well.
that. I like what the way he's been playing.
All right, Mikey, let's get a little PCC in the mix here, shall we?
It is time for what the internet is saying, and the internet delivered in impressive fashion this time. Are you looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? Well, PCC Airfoils is the leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Mentor, Wickliffe, Minerva, hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. All week, we've been asking people to submit topics for today's show.
So, by the way, the rest of the show, we're going to talk to Jake Trotter of ESPN. He's going to come in from like 12 to 12:25. Besides that, those 20-some-odd minutes with Jake, nothing but your questions that you've sent to Mikey, sports, non-sports, no politics, no religion, everything else is fair. And so we're going to get as many of these questions as possible. Some of them we may go 5-6 minutes. Some we may go 30 seconds. It depends on the question.
Yep.
Let's
we
go,
have
Mike.
made graphics for at least 25.
Okay.
And I have about 50 more just in my DMs that
And we
could've
have
made
not seen
graphics
any
for.
of them. We
They
have
not
no
seen
clue.
any.
We're all
Totally new.
we're answering
Yep.
spur of the moment here.
So we're going fresh.
Yeah.
Going fresh.
Fresh.
There we go.
I'm going to pull the super up. It is officially Viewer's Choice Friday.
Yeah.
Question number 1 comes from Grant Pusker. Which of the
Grant Pusker.
unbreakable records in sports is most likely to be broken?
I love this one. I like this.
Well, I'll tell you guys, I'll start with this.
And obviously, you can't say Kareem because LeBron's going to break
I was going to say that. That was a record when Kareem broke the scoring record.
Yeah.
As a kid, I guess I was a teenager by that point. But I remember when Kareem broke that record, I said, nobody's breaking that record.
The 39 years
And
ago.
now, listen, at the time, I didn't know, none of us knew at the time what the three-pointer was going to become in the NBA.
Right.
And that's factored in. That's a huge advantage that LeBron has. Kareem made one three-pointer in his career. He wasn't shooting three-pointers. But still, Brad, I don't know about you, but I never thought that record would be broken.
After Kareem broke Wilt's record, I didn't think I thought that was like the Mount Everest. It wasn't going to ever be reached again.
Yeah.
But the advent of the three-point shot in the game, this pace of the game that's being played now, the promotion of running up high scores, and then the longevity. That's the other thing. He played for 20 years. Right.
And he's still playing.
Right.
Is there a record that you guys can think of that you thought maybe would never be broken besides this? Now you think it might be? Like a lot of those old school baseball records are never getting broken.
Well, I think here, I'll go a team record. I don't think anybody's going to ever break the Miami Dolphins record.
No, but how about the question of will a record that They want a record that seems impossible to break, but we think is going to get broken, right?
I have an impossible answer.
I got one for you.
You shoot first.
I think somebody's going to score over 100 points and break Wilt's record.
I don't see that.
There's so much scoring now. We just talked about it. I think they're going to try to do it purposely one day, and somebody's going to shoot a crazy amount, hit like 23s in a game, something insane. I think it'll get broken someday.
I'm gonna think. I think the closest that will be that could be beat. I think somebody will break the 200-meter men's record.
Well, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, 19
something 39, 29. What is it?
19-2.
Who holds that
19-19 is Usain Bolt.
Oh, yeah.
And then 9.53, I think is the 100-meter record. 19.19 is the 200.
What do you got, Mikey?
I'm not sure if this is considered an unbreakable record. I'm not sure if it fits in that category, but Emmitt Smith has 2,000 more rushing yards than anyone else in NFL history. And I do think, despite the fact we're going towards a more passing league, this was the highest yards per carry average we've ever seen. So many dudes had over 1,200 rushing yards this year. I don't think that number is impossible now.
Nah, I think you're nuts because they're always going to be moving on to the next guy.
Right.
None of these guys last long enough. In a year-by-year basis, guys, I think in the NFL, we'll see some of these yearly records get broken in terms of rushing yards, maybe passing yards, receiving yards. But I don't think anybody's rushing for more yards than Emmitt Smith because it's so rare to see a running back be that good for that long. Like Emmett's a great back. I agree with G. I actually think assuming Nick Chubb stays healthy for another few years, I think we may look back and say Nick Chubb was a better back than Emmitt Smith, but he's not going to have more yards because he won't play as long.
Yeah.
He was great. He was awesome for a long time. That's hard.
I do think that there's a lot of them. There's one that will never, ever be broken, 2,632.
Games.
Cal Ripken.
None of those old baseball records. I mean, the all-time record in wins in baseball is 512.
I'll say this about LeBron's chase here, right? The one thing that I marvel at LeBron is the fact that in order to do what he's done, you have to play.
A lot.
You have to play.
He hasn't missed significant time overall.
Right. He is one of the few that show up pretty much every night.
Yeah.
Right. I won't say a few. He has an old school mentality, right? I don't sit it out. And that's what I like about him, right? Because this thing here, I'm going to just tell y'all, I'm going to get off on a tangent, but this thing here with this load management thing is just...
It's unfair to these young fans.
It's irritating.
It sucks because if you have these great players, especially kids, forget the adults, the kids, you want to be able to see these guys in person,
right?
And they maybe only come to your city once a year, and you don't get to see them. That sucks. All right, Mikey, what's up next?
Question number 2 comes from Gabby Weaver. When you get dressed in the morning, do you put your socks on first or last?
Well, that's a great question. G, you want to start us off on that? I guess you can't put them on last. You got to put your sneakers on or shoes on last.
Yeah,
well, but the sneakers doesn't count.
Not including that. Sorry.
I will go. They usually go on last for me.
Brad?
It's pretty near the top. It's probably the second thing I put on.
Yeah. I have no routine. There's some days I put my pants on and then my socks, and some days I put my socks and then my pants. I don't have a set routine.
That is true. I would go more with Bull. Like it's not like my world's gonna end if I don't.
Some people are like,
I'm a routine guy.
You are.
I'm with you, Brad.
I'm a routine guy.
Underwear then socks.
Underwear, socks?
Yep. Socks is the second thing I put on every day.
Second thing.
Sometimes this is a bold move. I sometimes put on like an undershirt even before my underwear.
That's strange.
Do you have pants on?
That's strange.
That's weird.
I just like the fellas to dry off a little longer.
Bro, you can't be walking around with a T-shirt.
My wife says to me the other day, she saw me, like I got out of the shower, I dried off, I just had a T-shirt on, no underwear. This is what my wife said to me. She goes, "What are you, Porky Pig in it?"
Right. If your wife do that, sure, we move with that. That's a woman's move. That's a sexy move. You a grown man.
I'm not trying to be sexy.
And you got Bull come get out the shower and lotion his body down. Lotion his body down. And he go put on a 90, one of his long T-shirts, and get in the bed and cross his legs and be ready. I
like the feeling of the cool sheets on my tush, man. I love it. All right, Mikey,
Before we go next one, while we're still in socks, can you guys sleep in socks? I think the person a psycho move if you sleep in socks.
Women can sleep in socks because women are often cold, but men sleeping in socks is completely inappropriate.
What? Yeah, what?
That was a gender
I
issue.
can.
Brad sleeps in socks.
I can't. Nah,
I cannot sleep. I can only sleep.
I don't like my feet to be cold.
I have to be in underwear only to sleep. I cannot have any clothes on.
Yeah, none of that. And I do think like one of the worst feelings in the world is if you are a person who accidentally, like if you sitting there and you dirt tired and you got your clothes on and you accidentally fall asleep on top of the covers with fully clothed, you feel dirty. You just like, I'm sleeping.
That's true.
By the way,
jeans.
getting in the bed. It's okay if you're over the covers, but getting in your bed with clothes that you've worn outside that bed.
That's nasty. That's so nasty.
That is nasty.
That is nasty living. Clean your life up if you go do that. Oh my gosh.
Get your life.
Like,
get your life.
That's a good question.
Very good
Great question.
Okay,
Gabby Weaver.
Next one comes from Steve Becker.
Oh, Steve. Look at Steve.
Steve was kind of young right there. I don't know when you took that, Steve. You took that in 1987.
Looks like.
Shout out to Steve, by the way, who made a Twitter just to DM a question for this.
That looks like Steve was at like day camp, and he just finished his arts and crafts project.
That looks like Steve with T.J. Holmes, don't it?
Look at that. What is going on?
I think it's a UFC fighter. This is from Steve's Fox days at UFC.
Yeah.
Okay, the question though. From Steve, who we don't know, by the way. Thanks for the submission, Steve, whoever you are. Give me a raise. Are hot dogs and hamburgers considered sandwiches?
Ooh, that's an age-old question.
Well, hamburgers are a sandwich. Hot dogs aren't.
I say both are not.
Sandwich, I'm going to tell you what sandwiches consist of. Sandwiches consist of mostly lunch and deli cuts and condiments. You got to have peanut butter and jelly. You can.
So a hamburger's not a sandwich?
No, that's more.
What is
it? What is it?
It's by itself.
I don't know. It's just a hamburger.
It's by itself. Over here in the left, that column is a meat sandwich.
Like if somebody says to you, "Hey, Mike, I'm going to get sandwiches. You want a sandwich?" Would you ever respond and say, "Yeah, get me a hamburger"? No.
If they came back with a hot dog and like, "Hey, I'm going to get sandwiches," and they came back and handed me a hot dog,
you'd be like,
I'd throw fists.
That's not a sandwich.
When somebody gets
That's what I'm saying.
sandwiches,
It's not a sandwich.
What about hamburger, Mikey?
Sandwiches denote a Jersey Mike's.
Yeah, like Jersey.
That's a Jimmy John's move.
The burger joint call it a hamburger sandwich. They do.
Well,
yeah.
I've seen some
sandwich. That's inappropriate.
Now the hot dog is totally out of the blue.
Hot dog
is out of the
I
question.
think everybody agrees on hot dog.
So why you on hot
not
dogs?
a sandwich.
Here,
It's really hamburger.
Listen, I don't do hot dogs, but when I did do them, don't give me no hot dog with all that mess on it, right? It's just too much stuff on it.
Like,
I mean, it's just
don't wear me down.
I don't need all that.
And by the way, if you gonna have hot dogs, like listen, first of all, don't give me no little kid's hot dog. Don't be having me. Your hot dogs is supposed to consist of 100,000% beef. Don't have no mix of chicken, pork, turkey,
lips.
none of the hooves,
Pig guts.
none of that. Get me together with a 100%.
You gotta get the Hebrew National. Man. You gotta go Hebrew National.
Kosher joints.
Kosher joints.
And it got a different snap to it when you don't have it boiling in that water neither.
Best hot dogs ever
know
are
what
Nathan's hot. Have you ever had a Nathan's hot dog from Nathan's in Brooklyn?
No.
That's the best.
Is it Coney Island, the OG?
In Coney Island. Yeah.
Okay, I thought you said Brooklyn.
We'll go to Brooklyn.
Coney Island is in Brooklyn.
Is that considered the same? I always thought Coney Island was a separate.
Oh my God.
Separate
And
thing.
our sausages
You
hot
grew
dogs.
up in the area. How do you not
Coney
know that?
Island was just always
Coney Island is a neighborhood in Brooklyn.
You can't have a neighborhood in a
He
neighborhood.
just asked a great.
Brooklyn is not a neighborhood. Brooklyn is a borough.
Well,
Brooklyn's not a neighborhood.
Well, let me ask you.
Brooklyn by itself would be the 5th largest city in America.
I know, but it's still part of New York City.
So
It's a borough in New York City.
So
It's
the
not a
borough,
neighborhood.
the borough is equivalent to what? Here,
I mean, it's bigger than Cleveland.
A borough would be like
county.
a large county.
Okay.
Okay.
And see, when you say borough here, people don't understand.
But
what
like
that
there's a
means.
lot more people in Brooklyn than there are in Cuyahoga
So
County.
a borough in New York is a county, basically.
Now, I do gotta ask y'all.
But a
too.
large county.
A large county.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back to the hot dogs.
Yeah.
Is a hot dog is a sausage a hot dog?
No.
No, what do you mean is it a hot dog?
Like, so if I get a brat, is that
Yeah.
considered a hot dog?
No, it's a
No,
brat.
it's a brat.
So,
There's a difference.
okay.
I prefer brats and sausages over hot dogs.
Oh,
to
me too.
Right?
Yeah,
me too.
yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Mikey.
Now,
Next.
I do say this.
Yeah.
When they do the new progressive field, make sure you got the good brats and sausage joints.
Yeah,
Because
got
I ain't
you.
gonna be watching no game. I
Yeah.
watch a game with two.
And give me a
innings.
different
Fulfill
flavors.
Bassa?
Give me a jalapeno cheddar something.
No, I don't like that.
I like those. I'll eat all of them.
jalapeno.
You guys ready for the next one?
Yeah.
This next one's a great question. Probably going to be a little longer than 5 minutes on this
Okay.
one. It's from John DeLuzzi. Johnny D.
Yeah.
Shout out Johnny D.
Okay.
It's 5 years in the future. It's 2028. What is the state of each of the Cleveland sports teams?
Oh, that's a good question. You want me to go first?
Yeah, Brad,
ahead,
you go
you
first.
got
We'll go
it.
around the
All
horn.
right, I'll take it first. You have the Guardians sitting in a great stead because they just have a good system and a good management play. I think the Guardians could be knocking on championship door again. The Browns, I'm going to trend toward them finally getting it together, right? You could be on the precipice of finalizing a deal for a new Brown Stadium. The team heading in a proper direction if the investments we've made now and this year pan out. So I'm going to trend to the fact that at some point the eyes are going to trend towards the Browns being one of the power teams here. It comes around to everybody. Damn, it's got to come back to us at some point in time.
One of these days, right?
And then finally, the Cavaliers, they're set up probably in that 5th year to really be on the precipice of being the elite team if they can add pieces to the 3 pieces that they have right now. The good thing is here, I was talking to somebody in the gym about it, Kevin Love has got a huge cap number that's expiring at the end of the year.
Levert.
You can add some pieces here.
Yeah. Jetty too, right?
Yeah, you can add some pieces here, right? So they could be on because they're not that far away because they're knocking on the door 5th now, right?
Yeah.
So the Cleveland teams could be in a good space if they don't do what? Overanalyze it and do more than necessary.
G, what say you?
Guardians will be, you know, I was a little sick about hearing this. You know, when you look at, you know, the TV money, that Bally's deal, the Guardians are.
It's concerning.
Guardians could lose $37 to $50 billion because of Bally folding up. Now, when you're dealing with owners that don't really have the capital like the Dolans have, that's a large portion of your operating capital. It's like, it ain't like they do other things. They don't own assets or, you know, other businesses. So for me, in 5 years, I don't think the Dolans own the team. I think they cash out. I think the local deals that they're getting for television, those are a thing of the past. I think the new reality of it in baseball is you're not going to be having all this money flowing around. So for me, I think the Dolans understand what it is, and they look around and see what other people are overpaying for organizations.
So when you cash out, right? If they cash out, think about the next person that steps in. The capital that's going to be required.
Yeah.
So I mean, those new ownership group. This is not
billions.
This is not that, right?
No.
Yeah.
So that means in this market, under the right group with the right capital, you could do some serious damage here. My concern to that point, I just thought about it when you were talking about Tito getting old here. Right.
He ain't gonna be here 5 years.
Nah,
I give him, he's 2 max. I thought he might be done
So
this year.
who's in training?
Well, that's a good. Maybe Sandy Alomar Jr. What about the Browns and the Cavs?
The Cavaliers, I think they're in a position. I think the Cavaliers in 2 years will end up in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think Mobley will take a step. However, I do think Donovan Mitchell, after that point, I think he'll be out.
I agree.
So I think at that point, you'll be starting to talk about, is Evan Mobley enough? I think at that point, 5 years from now, he'll be a perennial. You'll be talking to him about him being an MVP, a Defensive Player of the Year like Giannis is. And then you'll be still trying to figure out where you get an extra piece because you're going to need to replenish that. But I think in 5 years, they'll be one of the better teams in the East. And then finally with the Browns, I think with the Browns will have another coach by then. 5 years, I think we'll be talking about whether or not, to be honest with you, was the Deshaun Watson move worth it.
Right.
5 years from now, I think if you think how great it could be, maybe it get to, I don't know, maybe it get to a Super Bowl, but I don't think they win a Super Bowl in 5 years.
Here's the interesting thing. Like, there's a lot of variety of where all these teams could be in 5 years. The good news is I could see any of the three winning a championship over the next 5 years. I don't think any of the three are that far away that you couldn't realistically say. I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen.
I mean, they have stars.
But all three could possibly win a championship. My concern about the Guardians, I agree with G. I think there's no way that Dolan's still on the team 5 years from now. And in a way, you think that's a good thing because you think the new owner will have more money. However, the one thing that was great about the Dolans, way more than the other two owners in this town, is they hired great people.
Yeah.
And they leave them alone. Now, they have limits in the budget, but as long as they're within the budget, they let Antonetti, Chernoff, and Francona, he lets them do whatever they want.
You're right.
And it's paid off. And so the new owner, he may spend a little more money, but he may not be like that. He may be more of a meddler. But I think the Guardians, as long as Antonetti and Chernoff are here, now I agree with Brad also. I'm a little worried about who's next for Francona. I think as long as they have this great front office infrastructure, they're always going to be competitive. The Browns, it all depends on Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
if Deshaun Watson this year gets back to being what he was in Houston, then the Browns are going to be at least minimum competitive for the next 5 years.
Puncher's chance.
Right. And they could be a lot better than that. Since I got to make my prediction, I believe Deshaun Watson is going to get back to being that quarterback and being a top 10 guy or whatever, lower end of the top tier quarterbacks. And so I think the Browns will be in decent shape. I'm hoping Kevin Stefanski's still the coach because that means things have gone really well. But if I had to bet today, I agree with you. I bet Stefanski is not the coach. As for the Cavs, I think 5 years from now is when this good run ends. And I think they're going to be in a bad way in 5 years because I think they're going to go all in over the next bunch of years. I think they're going to lose Donovan Mitchell in the next 5 years. I think they're going to lose Jared Allen, or he's not going to be the same player in the next, by 5 years from now. And so now you got Mobley and Garland. Is one of those guys going to want to leave? You will have given up so many assets you can't replenish. So I think that will be the start of their downturn. I think there will be good times between now and then, but I think that'll be the start of the downturn for the Cavs.
I wholeheartedly agree with everything Bull said there. If all three, I think all made really good points, Bull. I think that is pretty spot on. Ready for the next question? We went long on this one. I'm sure we'll go shorter on this one. What's your guys' take on the NHL bringing back a team to Cleveland? This is from Brian Moore.
Guys, I don't see it happening. I mean, let's face it. Based on population, Cleveland is really a 2 major league city market. There's no way you could add a 4th major league team. I don't see it. Do you?
There's too many people leaving the city itself. I don't think the economic dollars are there. I argued last year it might not be economically viable for them to even support 3 teams.
Right.
Because the Guardians are the best out of the 3 teams. If you look at their record over the last 10 years, and they run the best as far as their farm system, yet still their attendance numbers are the lowest. And so
stink.
I would even you can't get 4.
Well, it's hard to do a 4-team professional team sport here. I mean, sports in this town.
Yeah.
They're divvying up the dollar amongst the population, which is not growing. It may be leaving the city of Cleveland, but it's still in the area, in the suburbs, but you're still fighting over the same dollar, right?
Right.
You know, and this is a team that a town that really traditionally knows how to support, in a way, 3 teams, but only if they're grinding and winning.
Yes,
right? That's
they have
how
to be
it works
the highest
here.
level.
That's how it works here, right?
Yeah,
So,
you can't add another. The Monsters do a nice job as a minor league team, but I think that's the capper. Not that, I mean, there are a lot of hockey fans in the area, certainly, but I don't think it's enough.
I'll go back to, there ain't really no hockey fans, a few, right?
Yeah.
It's a few, right? I'll go back to when they even had the Barons here, years ago in the 70s, right? And it just never really drew. I mean, it drew a select group of people. You've got some of these high schools at US and Shaker and stuff like that Cleveland Heights feed to the hockey program, but overall, this is 3 teams, 3 sports.
I mean, I wonder if we'll have the Arena Football League announced they're coming back with 16 teams. Maybe you'll have an arena team, but that's not that kind of money.
I mean, and the Monsters do just fine.
Yeah, they do well.
They
put up a good product.
They put up a good product.
There's no doubt.
And so
the other thing is that to those sports there, it's affordable.
Right.
You know, this goes back to my thing about the sitting out and the load management. You think about that, I got 3 kids, right? I got 4, but I'm saying I'm using it like I got 3, right?
Yeah.
And I had to pony up for the ticket for my kid. The kid was waiting to see Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh.
I only come one time. I got these tickets in advance. I'm doing a great daddy thing. I'm getting the Daddy of the Year award, right? Pony up this money.
And you done already told them, but 6 months in advance, we got the tickets.
Because you got to go to the game.
Right.
You got to pay the parking, right? You got to feed them, right?
Yep.
So this is a big production.
They want to buy a T-shirt.
Right.
Or
This
whatever.
is a big production. And then I get there, and the night before, Steve Kerr talking about, I'm sitting there right now. You doing what? What you doing?
You got your JVB team out there.
I'm like,
it sucks.
no. So I'm just saying that's why it's hard.
Yeah.
Those sports there, the other sports there, they have a ticket that's affordable.
Right. Mikey?
I love this next question. This is from Aaron Weaver, and I have an answer for this one too, but you'll go first. What's a 30 for 30 that hasn't been made yet that you think should be made?
Shout out to Aaron Weaver. His sister, Haley Weaver, plays for Northwestern Wildcats basketball. And a great family, and full disclosure, her and Cheyenne played together on an AAU team. But, I mean, he's a graduate of Xavier University. The 30 for 30?
Yeah, what's a 30 for 30 that hasn't been done?
I have a good one.
Go ahead, Mikey.
What do you got?
Okay, this one has not been made yet. I do think it should
I
be
got
made.
a good one.
Yeah.
The 2008 Florida Gators national championship football team and what was going on at campus at that time with Tim Tebow, Urban Meyer, Aaron Hernandez, Riley Cooper, Riley Cooper obviously had some racial slurs that got him in a lot of trouble. The Pouncey twins on that team as well.
Ooh.
Also, you had Dan Blazarian, the poker player turned influencer running around on campus, and Ryan Lochte.
No idea who that is.
The younger people know who that
Okay.
is. And Ryan Lochte, the All-American swimmer,
All right.
at the same time. Plus, they won the championship in basketball that year as well. So you had Joakim Noah, Al Horford, Corey Brewer, that whole squad.
Yeah.
What campus life was like.
That's going to take days.
What campus life was like
That'd be
at
pretty
the University of
interesting.
Florida with all those characters.
I'll
got something?
give you a 30 for 30. There hadn't been a 30 for 30 on Jim Brown in Cleveland. So if you know the alleged stories about Jim Brown here in Cleveland, right, and the days of the Browns, that'd be a 30 for 30. Because 30 for 30 does some things. 30 for 30 is not just the sports.
Right.
30 for 30 is about the side story
That's true.
that you don't know, right?
That's true.
And so I'm surprised that it hadn't been a 30 for 30 on Jim Brown. Yeah.
I'm stingy. I would do a 30 for 30 on the Massillon-McKinley rivalry and how
That only amounts to Massillon and McKinley.
well, I mean, McKinley, we just said, I mean, outside like Tyvus, but we got the most wins in basketball. We the only public school with 2 state championships back to back. It took Glenville a long time. It's hard to do. That was tough, bro.
I love the McKinley
we was
people.
just beating Chuck Kyle. You don't beat Coach Kyle. Coach Kyle is like just Jim Tressel.
I love the McKinley people.
I tell you what. Now here, but all jokes aside, the 30 for 30 I want to see is I want this first person to get the rebuttal. It's the rebuttal to the Last Dance, right? So I want LeBron because I know he got it. I know you got the archives. You know what I'm saying? I want the King's Court.
That's coming.
I want.
Yeah,
from,
that's gonna happen.
I want from day one.
Yeah.
From hour one when you came into the game.
We want the truth.
But
I want the truth.
I want you. But I want the way it happened with Dwayne Wade on the plane. Did you really ghost him? Did J.R. Smith really throw that rice soup at people? I need you to figure out.
You want the whole nine.
I want.
What happened with him and Kyrie?
Him and Kyrie, do you talk? You was at the Nike headquarters. And by the way, do you regret going to L.A.? And by the way, did you already know before, when my career started, I said, I'm going to play in Cleveland, I'm going to play in Miami, and I'm going to play in L.A. Did you even plan on going back to Cleveland? And didn't you just say you weren't coming? I need all of that. I need all of it. And do you think your son was really that good, or you just orchestrated it?
I actually, this is a little selfish, but the Browns, the Jimmy Haslam years, like all the nonsense, like Josh Gordon, Peyton Hillis, I could go on and on. Like everything that, like just Joe Banner and Jimmy Haslam being thrown together.
Facts.
all the coaching changes, all the stuff behind the scenes, Manziel, Baker. I mean,
disguises.
You could do 10 episodes on
OBJ.
Yeah.
Actually, to be truthful, that is a 4-part series, and I've never.
Well, you could do some Cleveland 30 for 30s that are. Here's a 30 for 30 for you. Give me the story of Albert Bell.
Oh, yeah.
That's another one.
I know Jason Lloyd's been working on that for a while.
Another one. What happened to
Not
you?
public knowledge yet.
Ooh.
Also, a different AB. How about the someone put in the YouTube chat the downfall of Antonio Brown, a 30 for 30 on his.
That ain't even.
Wonky.
I actually don't give a crap
That
about
even
Antonio
interesting.
Brown.
Yeah,
I don't see that.
I think, and I don't want to put that on nobody, but man, he got a lot of symptoms of.
Something ain't right.
He not right, man. He just
Something ain't right.
It's a lot of football players. And another thing, the 30 for 30, Willie McGinnis, man. What was that, bro? The Patriot way. We'll talk about it. Like, I would like a 30 for 30 on Bill Belichick. Another one, like, what do you do with your money? Like I saw him one day at the combine. He was at his table.
Yeah.
He was at his table with a dog there, and it looked like some old farm table. I'm like, bro, this cat Bill Belichick is on some other type stuff.
All right, let's get one more in, Mike.
What you got,
One
Mikey?
more, then we'll bring Jake Trotter in. This from our boy Eddie. It's kind of a long question, so bear with me. Why is it illegal for athletes to take steroids in order to come back from injury faster, but it's legal for guys to take a bunch of shots in order to continue playing in a game where they got injured or got shots before a game in order to play?
Okay, so
go ahead.
The steroids are longer lasting. The guys that take the injections, just to get back on the field for that day, is only for hours, right? Because I'm sure Mahomes took a shot to play in that game, and I'm sure at some point during that game he was back to regular pain, right?
Yep.
The steroids have a longer lasting effect. They have a well-known side effect, and so that's why that's the difference between the two.
And the steroids make you stronger.
Yeah.
And
Can
make
be,
you,
yes.
Right, can, especially in conjunction with working out. Whereas like a pain-killing
Yeah.
shot is just taking away your pain
Right.
temporarily. It's different. I hate the fact that steroids have ruined the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I would put those guys in. I mean, it's just like there are guys in there, I'm sure, that took steroids and did whatever.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like I just think it's stupid for us to legislate that, but there is a difference.
Well,
between the two.
I think it all boils down to Eddie. I would say if you've learned nothing from watching the UCSS when we go through the Deshaun Watson, or we hear about Jimmy Haslam and the rebate program, or even some of these newer scandals, is it always boils down to liability. If you let somebody take steroids, which are illegal in our country, not use them, you're then saying it's okay to break the law. And even if they were legal, they could come back against you and say, well, you know what, you let us take steroids, now I have cancer. There's a liability with that as well, because they're saying you willfully let people take steroids. And I don't even believe in, I'll say this though, I think even shooting people up with steroids or shooting people up with painkillers is another thing that chances are they won't even tell you to be throwing that out there. If you notice, very many players, you assume they shot their leg up. They don't come out and say, I'm getting shot up.
You don't hear about it.
Because even with that, you can injure yourself more because you don't feel the pain. And, it's like saying, can you go take a bunch of Oxycontins if my ankle hurt tomorrow?
Right.
In the game. No, you can't. That's just substance abuse. So there's a lot of little gray areas and different things and people do, but it just boils down to a bunch of rich people don't want to be sued.
All right. How many fan questions did we get in so far?
So far, that was, let me do a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
That's pretty good.
We got through 8. We got 40 minutes on the back end, but we're going to bring in Jake Trotter.
All right,
While we get Jake set up, though, I got to tell you about a few things coming up. For $1.99 a month, that is our starters tier membership program. You get all the loyalty badges and custom emojis, plus your members-only community posts for just a few bucks more. $4.99 a month. That's less than $5 a month, less than $60 a year. You get all those same starter tier perks, plus UCSS overtime codes, videos, member shout-outs, discount codes for merch. Jason Lloyd was texting with our coaches tier members during the game last night for the Cavs, giving them some great insight. Jason really peeled back the curtain on some of the things the Cavs thought. Coming up on Wednesday as well, it is our comedy show at Pickwick and Frolic Hilarities on East 4th. Anthony, myself, are going to make a fool of ourselves. It's going to be a disaster. If you don't like us, still come to hang out. Bull's going to introduce me. Jay's going to introduce Mike Polk. G's going to introduce Anthony. The whole squad's going to be there. I think Tyvus is going to stick around in Cleveland for the entire night. It'll be the first time you've ever seen Tyvus in public in Cleveland.
Oh, boy.
And my joke for Tyvus, I think, is my favorite joke
All
of the
right,
whole
good.
set. So we'll see how that goes. That is Wednesday. And now, Jake Trotter.
Jake Trotter covers the Browns for ESPN. Welcome to the show, Jake.
Yes,
How are you?
sir.
Good
to be with you guys.
It's good to have you with us, Jake. When you first came here, obviously you had worked with Baker Mayfield before, and then you worked with him again here. How did he change during his time from college to starting in the pros to when he, and I don't know if you've spoken with him at all since he's been gone, but did he change a lot or no?
I think so, a little bit. I think that the turmoil that he had to deal with in Cleveland probably affected him a little bit. He really wanted to turn this place around. He wanted to turn the Browns around. Mm-hmm. And I think that along the way, maybe he lost himself a little bit. I think at the end, he definitely lost some of his confidence. I mean, you could feel that from the front office to the coaching staff to the locker room. There's just a loss of belief in Baker, and he had not dealt with that really in a long time, right? Maybe ever.
Right.
And I think he wanted to be a Brown for life. He wanted to be the guy that took Cleveland to a Super Bowl, but it just didn't work out for a number of different reasons.
Is he his own worst enemy in a way?
I think sometimes.
Yeah.
I think sometimes that bravado at Oklahoma played very well.
Right.
Planting the flag, all of that stuff. But when you're not winning, it doesn't play very well. And he wasn't winning here, except for a couple stretches in 2018 and 2020.
Yeah.
Jake, Kevin Stefanski, I look at his tenure here. There's been a track record of really high-name players kind of having, their rough way with him. We just talked about Baker. Jadeveon Clowney has some comments. Myles Garrett has had comments in the past. You got Jarvis Landry, you got Odell Beckham Jr., you even have Kareem Hunt. Is it a situation where Kevin is he the person to be a communicator, or is that an area that he gets people lost with, especially with big name guys and big personalities?
Are you saying is there a culture issue in Cleveland?
Well,
I think so.
Is that his personality, or was it just the circumstances with those players individually?
Well, I think a lot of the issues predate Kevin. I was here in 2019 with Freddie Kitchens. They had all kinds of wild stuff happening off the field that made it very difficult for that team to win on Sundays. Now, Kevin's style is not to get in your face. He is very, introverted in a lot of ways. I think he's a terrific football mind. I think he's a very good play caller despite some of the rough patches they've had. In 2020, when they had so much success, they weren't in the building. There wasn't some of the chemistry issues you had to deal with because everybody was at home on Zoom calls, right? Mm-hmm. You didn't have a lot of the interpersonal locker room issues that we've seen, bubble up at times under his tenure. But I think a lot of the things that did happen, it should never even matter who the head coach is. Like the Jadeveon Clowney, I'm not playing on first and second down. Like, there's got to be players in the locker room that are not going to tolerate that type of stuff, which you see with other NFL locker rooms. You haven't seen it enough with the Browns. Now, Kevin probably deserves some of the responsibility for the way that has gone, but it's not just him. It's above him, and it goes before he arrived here.
So I would say this, Jake. So you're right that the culture issue extends all the way to the top of the ticket, right?
Yep.
And really, if the culture is set, it's set from the top of the ticket down. Irrespective of that, Kevin is in control of the entire ship, right? If it's not coming from up top, he at least has to be the one to say, through these doors, my way or no way. And I think sometimes when he gets himself in trouble is, I don't think you can be, and I'm asking, I don't think you can be successful as a coach in any sport and be hands off. I just don't see how that happens, right? Because there's always going to be people that buck the system. And somebody has to be there to be like, this is what's happening. And if you do, the consequences are, because if you don't shut it off when it starts, just permeates to the rest of the group. Does Kevin understand that?
Well, I think that part of the problem in this particular case is that this is a collaborative effort. Kevin Stefanski is not Bill Belichick. He's not making all the decisions. Paul DePodesta is making decisions. The Haslam's are making decisions. Andrew Barry is part of this process. So like the Jadeveon Clowney thing, I don't think that was up to Kevin to say, well, we're gonna cut him next week. We're not gonna tolerate that. He's not gonna play on 1st and 2nd down in a game we have to have. The next week he was in on the 2nd series, and so if you're Perrion Winfrey and you see that, that's where you have culture issues.
That's a major problem. You F-ing each other and not
which
working
we've
together.
seen in Cleveland many times before.
But I mean, the fact, like, it seems to me, you cover the team more than we do, intimately. It seems like Jimmy Haslam is too involved. But ultimately, he's the owner. He can do whatever the hell he wants. But it seems like that, through all the problems since he's been here a decade, that's been consistently an issue, is that he's too involved. Is that really the case, or do we make more of that than it is?
I don't know if it's that he's too involved, but he is making the calls. I mean, the reason Deshaun Watson is on the Browns is because of Jimmy Haslam.
Right.
So you don't think Barry wanted him?
No, I'm not saying that. I think
Right.
it was a collaborative effort,
Yeah.
but Jimmy is the one who
pushed for
spearheaded
it.
that effort.
Okay, so
He's the reason that Deshaun Watson's making $230 million, which is how they got Deshaun Watson in the first place. If they don't pony up to pay that kind of money, he's playing somewhere else.
Okay, so let's, and coaches and owners are always in adversarial positions. You go through this league, everybody has an opinion. The system that I see so far, the collaboration effort is not working, right? When do we change course to be like, I need somebody to run the program, right? Period, right?
Well,
and it's a difference between the owner and the coach. There's two different things, right? And the problem with the Browns, as I see it, is just this. When there are decisions and stances to be made that are entirely in the coach's purview, he refuses to do it for whatever reason and basically fluffs it off on somebody else to do it.
Does he refuse, or does he not have the power?
Well, let's talk about the first issue you referenced. What's the difference between Baltimore and Pittsburgh and Cleveland? The biggest difference. They have incredible continuity there, from ownership to GM to head coach to quarterback. The Browns have not had that since they came back to the league in '99. And if you keep firing coaches and you keep firing coordinators and you keep changing quarterbacks, you're never going to get to the point where you want to get. So that's so I understand. So that's point one. But again, this is a collaborative effort. Kevin Stefanski is not the most powerful person in that building.
So Jake
and he's not going to be under the current system they have.
No, I agree with you because I mean I'm just giving you my analysis as
Right.
I see it. But you're talking to a guy, so that came from Chicago, where you had the owner and the GM, Jerry Krause and Jerry Reinsdorf, in alignment, where you had Doug and Phil on the other side of it that would dismiss what they were doing. And then you had the players that would, depend on what day the flavor was, would dismiss whoever, right? So that dynamic exists always, right? But it still can be managed. But it always requires a person at the helm. The reason Phil Jackson had success, because he managed it. He managed the expectations of everyone. And like, you knew that, I don't care what they say upstairs, this is what's happening down here. Somebody has to control the domain.
You want Kevin to be more heavy-handed.
Yeah, he got to be because.
See, I wonder if he's allowed to be that heavy-handed.
The only way Kevin knows is if Kevin tries.
Because, the Clowney thing, I think, was an inflection point.
He'd have been gone that day.
So he had no power to get rid of.
I don't
So
think.
who did?
Well, I
DePodesta?
yeah, I think if DePodesta said we're going to cut this guy, he'd have been cut.
So if Kevin can't go to DePodesta and say, I want this guy out of here?
I mean, he can, but it's not. I don't think that's Kevin's call to make.
Wow. So is there a chance, like so when we were talking about they should fire Joe Woods, that's out of.
No, I think that was. Let me put it this way.
Yeah.
If Kevin, if Kevin wasn't speaking for Joe Woods, he might have been fired before the bye week. Now, in that particular case, Kevin does have say.
Yeah.
Whose coaches are going to be, but Kevin, at the end of the day, was not going to be able to keep Joe Woods on. There's just going to be too much pressure externally and
but
internally.
But if he wanted him fired, he would have been fired?
Yeah. I think if Kevin wanted to fire Joe Woods at the bye week, which I was wondering, before the Baltimore game, it was looking like it might happen because the defense was playing so poorly. the defense from that point on actually played really well. It was the offense that completely cratered. So I think they saw enough in the Baltimore and Cincinnati game to say, okay, all right, we're going to roll forward with it, but it wasn't enough to save his job.
Let me ask you, do they understand where the pulse of the community is right today? I speak to so many people, they come up to me, and there's people that, we've been waiting forever, but there's people that say, I can't stand to see the Pittsburgh Steelers who don't have the same talent, they're running out Trubisky and rookie QBs. Some people feel like the Browns kind of punted on the season, and I think that the pulse of the community is, he got about 4 to 6 games at the beginning of next year to figure it out, because there are people that I've never seen it go from that 2020 to 2023 and it lose like that. Do they know where they're at with their fan base?
Care?
Well, to the Haslam's credit, they're trying to do everything they can. They really do want to win. That's why they're paying the quarterback $230 million.
I'll give them credit for that.
Despite the
I agree with that.
accusations that were against him.
I agree with that.
They are trying. This is why they fire coaches and change quarterbacks, and they do want to win. But I do agree with you. Once they made that trade, the 2022 season was over. Now, I don't think they realized it at the time because they thought he was going to be suspended 4 to 6 games.
Right.
It became clear to me during the summer he ain't getting suspended 4 to 6 games. It's going to be a lot more than that. And
groundswell.
On the flip side of it, I'm not sure that their record is any different based on what we saw from Watson if he only does get suspended 6 games.
That's true.
Because of how well Jacoby was playing and how poorly Deshaun played when he got back. What game from week 7 to week 12 were they winning with Deshaun Watson instead of Jacoby Brissett? I think the record at the end of the year, which is crazy to think about, is exactly the same whether Watson had been suspended 6 games or 11 games.
I think that's fair. I think if he had not been suspended at all, it might have been different.
Well, yeah, for sure.
But based on what we saw, because it wasn't like by game 6, Watson was right there.
And they thought they don't say this now, but they thought they were going to go on a run when he came back.
Yeah.
We all thought
We
that.
did.
I was hearing it from every. We beat Tampa.
Yeah.
We are getting ready to make a run. And it took one quarter of the Houston game. It's like, what are they talking about?
Whoa.
What are they talking about?
Like the
This guy is so far away from being where he needs to be for that to happen.
It's funny, when the Browns traded for Watson, besides the off the field stuff, I was like, this is a no-brainer. The guy's a great player, great talent. You don't have a chance. The Browns have never had a great talent at quarterback. I never considered the fact, and bad job out of me and a lot of people probably, that maybe he's mentally scarred from everything that's gone on, a lot of it his fault, that he may never be able to get over that and become that dog that he was. Are you concerned about that?
I would be concerned if I were a Browns fan about that, because they're not paying him to be the 10th best quarterback in the NFL.
No.
They're paying him to be the 2nd or the 3rd.
Right.
And the Browns, this roster, I've been saying, the best roster Deshaun Watson is going to play with is probably the one he just played with in 2022. It's going to get more and more difficult to deal with the cap ramifications of that contract and keep key guys on the team. You're going to have to make some tough decisions pretty soon here about, all right, we can only afford this, so we're going to have to move on from that player. Those decisions might not be this offseason, but it's coming pretty quickly because it's not just Deshaun. It's, Myles Garrett, it's Denzel Ward. They're paying out a ton of money. Joel Bitonio, Njoku, Wyatt Teller, Amari Cooper. They have a lot of big contracts.
And that's my concern. I've been saying this all year. We looked at the Browns' talent in the beginning of the year. We said a lot of talent. They do.
Yes.
I think we overrated. I'm not going to speak for you. I'm going to speak for myself. I think I overrated their talent a little bit as a whole. And what I realized this year is, if you compare it to some of the other good teams, let's look at this division with Cincinnati. The Browns may have more Tier 1 talent than the Bengals do, but the Bengals got way more Tier 2 and Tier 3 talent than the Browns do.
I even think the Ravens and the Steelers now have
the Browns
more
are a very studs and duds team, and I don't know that you can win that way. Now, if Watson gets back to being a star and plays out of his mind, then maybe, but...
Basically, it comes down to this. Where the Browns going to be over the next 3 years. Is Deshaun Watson a top 5 quarterback? The answer is yes. They're going to be in the mix.
That's
if
right.
If not, they're not going to be.
It's a disaster.
And based on what we saw the 6 games, he has got a long way to go.
Long way.
It's going to be tough, to be 8th, 9th best in the NFL based on what we saw. But to get to the Patrick Mahomes level, which is what you need him to be
Right.
for that kind of money, and the first-round picks they gave up, that's got a long way to go.
So do you,
not impossible,
Jake,
but long way to go.
Jake, so do you think that can occur if with Kevin just being the head coach and the OC? Do you think that can occur?
I think it can occur. I think Kevin's a good play caller. Now,
there's a difference between the two.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
there
like
is.
the CEO part of it is a different.
Yes,
but
it
in
is.
terms of like designing an offense that Deshaun Watson's going to believe in and thrive in, like I have confidence that that's going to happen.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if Watson's going to be at the level in that offense to justify the contract. That's the question. But I mean, Jacoby Brissett was 8th in the NFL in QBR.
Yeah, but I mean, those are numbers.
No, but I mean, like Jacoby Brissett played the best
played
ball
well.
of his life.
No,
Baker
I'm not
Mayfield, who might not be a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL, was 10th in QBR in 2020. We've seen Kevin take quarterbacks and elevate their game.
Would you agree that any player is only as good as the tools around them?
Yeah, I mean, there's some players that it doesn't matter. They carry everybody else.
Football would be pretty hard to do on a consistent basis.
I think there's one.
There's some quarterbacks that, like, you trade Tyreek Hill, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You know, but that's rare.
I think the scary thing for me is when you look at the composition of the AFC as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've sat here for a while and we've talked about what we got to have Deshaun Watson play top 5 football.
Right.
We got to have Andrew Berry hit on picks, and we can talk about his record, good or bad. And also, we need Kevin Stefanski to coach to a level that is with a Shanahan or Andy Reid. And then you got younger guys getting Jacksonville Jaguars look like they're coming on. You look at, and you already know what the three-headed monster is: Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow. So, with the Browns, I asked the question, are the Browns more along the lines of the Jaguars and you hoping for a one-year flip, or are they a team that you might be talented like the Chargers, who kind of underperformed, or are you the Bills where you might have to rethink, hey, we need some more players?
I think without having given it a lot of thought, going into the 2023 season, I would say the Browns are like a fringy playoff pick. Like they're somewhere from 5 to 8.
It's so hard.
Right? I mean, you guys disagree?
No,
the way the AFC is.
I mean, the Bengals, until proven otherwise, the Bengals, Bills, and Chiefs are the 3 best teams in the AFC.
So already you're at 4.
You're not going to really make a good argument for anybody else getting into the top 3 at the moment.
Correct.
It might change by next year, but at the moment, no.
The Ravens came up.
Clearly, as G said, Jacksonville is definitely on the rise.
They're on the rise. I mean, Baltimore, that defense with Lamar, they're a legit team as well.
And it's not like. Listen,
and I'm telling you, nobody wants to hear it here. Pittsburgh is they got 3 picks in the top 100. That defense is still the real deal.
I don't believe in Kenny Pickett, but we'll see.
Evidently,
and the Chargers are not going to be bad. Like, even though the Chargers have been a disappointment,
the Chargers have Super Bowl talent.
Right. They still got a great.
They got to
quarterback.
stay healthy. They had terrible injuries.
The AFC's tough.
It's
the
tough.
AFC's tough. But the bottom line is the Browns are really impossible to predict, because we don't know what to expect about Deshaun Watson. If we get the same Deshaun Watson that we got last year, the Browns have no chance of making the playoffs. They're screwed. They're completely screwed. Now, I can't see him being that bad, but even if he's
going to be better.
Even if he's just middle of the road, that's not going to be good enough.
Like the Browns have a pretty wide variance relative to the other AFC teams. Like Pittsburgh, for example, I think Pittsburgh's probably going to go 9-8. Like, they just kind of find a way. I don't know that they could go 12 and 5.
Unlikely.
But I don't think they're going 6-11.
No, right.
The Browns could, like, if you told me the Browns go 6-11, I wouldn't be completely stunned. And if you told me they went, going to go 13 and I have to, it's hard to add these games now that it's 17. 13-4.
No,
I wouldn't be stunned by that
either.
They probably have the biggest variance of any team in the AFC going into next season.
I mean, as
Chargers
of right now,
maybe, but again, the Chargers were hurt.
Yeah,
that's why they were.
No, but I don't even think so, because I don't think the Chargers. I think
we know what Justin
more of
Herbert
these teams
is
are in a tight window.
More than what we know. We know what Deshaun.
Yeah,
Watson
no
is.
other team has a 7-8 game. Barring a massive injury or something weird happening.
Well, the position for the Browns is always good. The Browns went 3-3 in the conference. I mean, in the division, right?
Yeah,
they played Huntley and Trubisky, but yes.
Yeah, but 3-3.
Yeah.
Right. And so the rest of the teams in the league and in the division went 3-3.
Yeah.
So you have something there. The question
They play
is,
their divisional teams well.
The question is, can we put together enough oomph around? Because you need Deshaun Watson to be close to being the person we think he is.
They only have one lever to pull offensively, and that's they got to draft a receiver in the second round and hope he becomes the Schwartz.
There it is. I thank you for
Become
pivoting
the
There's
who?
really
to
nothing
that.
Become the who?
who they thought Anthony Schwartz was going
right.
to be. Like the guy that can take
Okay.
They didn't have anybody
To take
that
the
can
top
take
off.
the
They
top
They need
off.
to.
But,
they need to.
but they
be
don't have the
like-
resources because all the defensive holes to do anything else offensively. So the team you saw offensively, that's the team.
Right.
Ideally, you'd like to get a number 3 receiver that can play, but they're going to be able to do anything more than what they have. And
No.
they've got 2 Pro Bowl guards, a
Yeah.
Pro Bowl
Yeah.
running back, a pretty legit number 1 wide receiver.
Right.
A tight end that I was surprised how well he played this year. He's proven to be
But
worthy of that.
overpaid still.
Oh, yeah.
He's
He's not
overpaid.
top 5, but he's top
No.
10 tight end, maybe.
Yeah, he's a
and I
solid
was skeptical of that before the year,
Totally.
based on what we see. They've got enough offensively.
Jake, here's my concern when it comes to like Andrew Berry. I think overall, if you look at his transaction history, it's middle of the road, right? Like, and they've had some GMs that were horrible, so whatever. But I don't want to compare it to that. I think he's had some good, some bad.
Hits and misses.
When you look at what they've done in the front 7 on defense, it's been a disaster.
They have 1 starting caliber defensive lineman right now.
That's it.
They have one
That's it.
starting caliber front 7 player, I think.
JOK might be.
I don't. We had DeQuell Jackson on.
yeah.
He's got it.
Oh,
JOK, if he can gain some weight
Yeah.
back, I think we'll be okay. But
DeQuell Jackson said to
He
us,
said
he
no
doesn't
way.
think he's a starter in the
He
league.
said no way. DeQuell
He
said
said
no
he's
way.
a third down player.
I mean, the
only.
problem too is that like their problems along the front got exasperated JOK's
Yes.
limitations as a guy that can.
Well-
I mean, the Atlanta game, they were just running wide
Well,
zone right
the-
at him after
the
every
que-
play.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's nothing that they could do to
And
stop
that's
him.
the thing, again, you look at their defensive tackles. Like, you can't have a great player in every position.
No.
But their defensive
You gotta have
tackles
starting
are
caliber.
awful.
You
They're
gotta have
awful.
starting
They're not starters.
But
yeah.
to DeQuell's point was, I mean, there's basic skill sets inside a linebacker. DeQuell looks at him and said, he said he doesn't have them.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have them.
JOK?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he said he doesn't have them. These are things that can't be taught. Either you have it or you don't have it.
We've
So-
seen JOK play well in certain matchups.
So my
right,
thing
yeah,
is,
But he might be more of a matchup
DeQuell said you should move off of him and keep going another way.
Yeah.
My question is, who's making the development of talent or understanding? Who's making the pickings? Who's doing the picking?
Who's drafting?
I mean,
collaboration.
because
Yeah,
it's not
does
just
Barry have the final
it's
say,
just
or
not
is-
Barry. It is the people on the field, out in the field, who are going to look at talent and know what talent looks like.
Yeah,
Right.
well.
That's
Collaboration.
It is, and they do scout. It's not just all analytics,
Right.
but like Martin Emerson, for example.
Yeah.
That was a data
Home
guy.
run.
That was a data guy. That was not a scout guy. That was
Right.
that was an
And that was a
analytics
home run pick?
and
It was
a
a
good
home
pick.
run.
So
What about Donovan Peoples-Jones? I mean, that's an excellent pick right there.
I don't know like who was spearheading that one.
Yeah.
It was so long ago, but that was a home run pick.
But
you get
who
a guy
has
like
the final say? Do we know? Is there a final?
I mean, I think it's Andrew Berry, but again, it's collaborative.
Right.
Like Andrew makes
But
the
in
call.
the end, if let's say Stefanski and Berry and Jimmy and Deep Podesta all disagree, is Berry ultimately getting the final
I think
say or no?
it depends. Yeah, I mean Barry on personnel is going to have the final say, but like Deshaun Watson, Jimmy Haslam had the final say.
Right. Do you think Stefanski wanted him?
Yes, I think Stefanski. I think they
He was
all.
done. You think Stefanski was done with Baker? Or
Oh, I think. I mean, it was. I thought Baker was done after that Pittsburgh game, and then by the time we got to the combine, everybody was kind of recommitting to it because they didn't have better options.
Right. Yeah.
But it definitely felt like whether they move on from Baker now or later,
it was coming.
It was coming.
It was
Right.
coming.
Jake, I think the scary part for me is it boils down to this. I think it's, when Steph Curry got rolling and the Cavs were doing their thing, the Cavs started tooling their team to say, we got to play the death lineup. We need to figure out the way to beat that team. We know what LeBron got. We know what Kyrie got, and we know we got two of the best, and nobody else can beat us but them, so we'll figure it out. My problem is, a fan asks us in the next 5 years, where do you see each team? And my problem for the Browns is, I know for the next 5 to 10 years, if you want to go to a Super Bowl, you got to beat 2 out of the 3. You got to either beat Mahomes and Burrow or Allen or some
you got
combination.
to be at least 2 just to
You
get
got to
get
just
involved.
beat 2, and then you got to go see. To me, I don't know if they have the resources, unless he turns out to be Andy Reid. He goes to another level where he's McVay and he can scheme open, or Andrew Berry hits on 4 to 5 guys who are now all-pro 4th round, all-pro 6th round, a guy you got that some off a trash heap and he turned into something.
Right, somebody know how to pick the best.
I mean, is that a way to do it? Can they do it with their front office and coaching staff? Because I don't know if they have the resources to beat 2 out of 3 to go Super Bowl.
The Browns are unlucky in that their window came at a time where a bunch of other windows started to pop open around the AFC.
Yep.
And you had all these, this run on unbelievable. I mean, this is the best the AFC's had at quarterback
ever.
I think in my lifetime.
Yeah.
I can't remember a time where there are more talented quarterbacks. And, if the Browns were in the NFC, think how different everything would look.
Yeah.
And you were talking about a Thunder fan who was going through the same thing in 2016.
Right.
The Thunder were going to win titles or at least play the Cavs for them if it weren't for the Warriors.
Yes.
And then you had this,
Right.
generational team that came out of nowhere and nobody could beat them. And then, sometimes the luck that you're going to have some luck swing your way because it's going to be tough. I mean, the AFC is not going anywhere. These guys are, Joe Burrow,
This has been the most.
Herbert. I mean, they're all in their early 20s.
This has been the most unlucky franchise, I think, since the return of the Browns. I mean, I had never seen anybody with buzzer's luck. I mean, this is a buzzer's luck. I mean, nothing seems to go right.
Okay, let's wrap it up with this. Right in the beginning of this conversation, you talked about, hey, there should be players stepping up and telling Jadeveon Clowney, we ain't having this nonsense. And that's right. The problem is, it seems from our perspective, we've talked about this a lot, that the best players on the Browns are, at the very least, they're not local leaders, right?
Yeah.
They don't have that ass kicker on the team who's going to, like a TJ Watt, like a Joe Burrow, who's going to grab the other guys and say, what the are you doing? Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb, great players. They don't seem to be that type of they're not that type of guy. Do they have anybody like that?
Not on the defensive side.
Yeah.
John Johnson talks, but I think it's hard when you're not playing well and being that. Like, they really, in an ideal world, you'd want Myles to be that guy. But Myles, in a defensive Myles, when he was drafted by the Browns, there was nobody showing him how to be that guy. There was nobody who was on the defense that,
Nobody.
He was instantly the best player on the team. And then you add in that his personality is not to be that type of guy.
Right.
And I couldn't believe how much they missed Anthony Walker on and off the field. That injury, when it happened, I was like,
right.
He's not that great of a player. They'll be fine. They've got other linebackers. And it was a catastrophic injury for them in hindsight because Anthony Walker was a guy that people listened to.
Yeah.
And he was a pretty good player on the field for what they needed.
Is Myles Garrett or Nick Chubb or even Bitonio, are these guys frustrated? Did any of them want out?
I haven't heard that. No.
Okay.
No, I don't think we're to that point. You would understand why they would feel frustrated. I mean, I think there have been times where Bitonio's been frustrated just by some of the nonsense he's had to deal with over the years, especially in the locker room.
Yeah.
But no, I think everybody's committed to making this work. It's not like people are trying to bail out, but they got their work cut out for them.
Do the players believe in Stefanski? Do you believe?
I think Deshaun Watson does, which is the most important part.
Well,
he is all in on Stefanski. Now, the moment he's not, Kevin's going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
But Deshaun Watson and Kevin Stefanski have a pretty good rapport.
Yeah.
So that gives you at least some optimism.
What's the plan for Watson this offseason? What is the deal? He's staying here in Cleveland?
He's going to be here. So, I think they'll have, I don't know if he's going to go to the Bahamas again, but I'm sure they'll have some kind of trip.
Right.
He's going to get together with Amari and throw. He's going to be here some. He's got a civil trial coming up in Houston, so he's going to have that. Yeah. So it's going to be another eventful offseason, it looks like, for the Browns.
Jake, great stuff. We really appreciate you taking
guys.
the time
Awesome,
to come
man.
in.
Awesome.
Excellent insight from Jake Trotter of ESPN, man. Mikey, what do you got for us?
No, it's great stuff, Jake. We appreciate you coming in. We'll do some more promos real quick as we help Jake get unmiked and out of his seat here. Our comedy show. Bull, have you started preparing your work yet?
I mean, I'm not doing stand-up. I'm just introing you.
I'm just saying. Are you
I'm
ready?
an off-the-cuff guy. I'll be ready to bust your balls for
Bush,
it.
you ready?
I stay ready.
I mean, Anthony looks like a 90-year-old Jewish man in this promo. It's like, what are you doing? What are you? And I can do that. I'm Jewish, so I can do that.
Yeah, look, you
other
gotta
guys
let him
can't.
know.
What do you want from me? What's happening?
You know Jay's preparing a whole routine, even though he's only supposed to have 90 seconds. Jay's going to have a full routine.
Good.
Memberships, $199 a month. Today's overtime content. We're going to continue with
Great crazy.
viewer questions here as we move through. Mike, are you ready to get back to these viewer questions?
By the way, I think my 90-year-old Jewish man kind of sounded like Eddie Murphy doing it.
It did.
It kind of did. Go ahead, Mikey. Back to fan question. That was great insight from Jake.
Yeah, I thought
that was
I thought
a lot of different perspectives than we usually
Here,
get.
the one thing I heard was this. Svansky as good as Watson say he good.
Yeah, right.
He's like, thank God Watson loves me, or I'd be out of here.
That man, look, bro. He knows.
Sitting for edible arrangements for
Right. Hey,
We got a bunch more.
All right, fan questions. Here we go. 35 minutes.
A little quicker.
All
right.
This next one is from TMag08. What's been the best take since UCSS launched, and what's been the worst take?
I mean, how would we know that off the top of
Oh, the best take was G's take, the rant that went viral. That was the best take, right?
Yeah, that was
that thing. Yeah, that thing.
Which one? Oh, DeMar.
DeMar. That was the best take.
We'll go with that. That's a good call. The worst take?
Oh, I have the worst take. The 6-0 Kool-Aid.
Oh, yeah. That was
Kool-Aid and the Steelers are dead.
my take on the Steelers being dead. But, yeah, I'm going to give G the best take and the worst take.
That's crazy. The Kool-Aid, I was going to print T-shirts and everything.
The Kool-Aid.
Oh, my God.
The Kool-Aid.
Next question.
Next.
G. Bush does get best and worst there. This is from Jeff. Why are the Browns, who have been horrible for the last 20, 30 years, more loved in Cleveland than the Cavs and Guardians, who have been the opposite? And he put a caveat.
Yeah.
You can't just say football is king.
Okay.
There's no reasonable explanation for it.
It is.
It is.
It's two things. It's first of all, the Browns were at one point in time when football started in Canton, Ohio. It started in Northeast Ohio. The Browns were one of the flagship organizations, had one of the best players. They've had Barry Motley, Jim Brown.
Best organizations.
Paul Brown.
But most of the people that we talk to are not the age that they know
Well,
about those
this is a football state, right?
Right, but that's what I'm saying. That's it.
It's just like when I walk into Columbus, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Ohio State basketball will never surpass Ohio State football.
Right.
I don't care if we went 35-0 for 10 years. It's never going to pass up Ohio State football because it is football in this state, in this city.
Right.
But
the guy was saying.
I know he's saying that,
Right,
but that's the reason.
answer.
That's the reason.
So, then also there is, I think there's a psychological factor to it too. Football and the people have an intimate relationship because of traditional hard labor. Like people here work in steel mills, they work hand to hand, blue collar work for very low wages, and they like to see people that represent that at a high level, and they like to identify with those people. So when the Browns are downtrodden, like they can identify, well, I'm gonna go take all my pain, effort. I work a terrible shift, but I can go sit in that dog pound for a certain amount of money. And the way that they play in the style of game, they identify.
It depends on where you are. Like if I go to the state of Indiana, Indiana is basketball. It's basketball all day.
Kentucky all day basketball.
All day. Maryland, you go to Maryland. I'm at Cheyenne's game. The sign they hold up the game is basketball is what we do. Maryland, that's what we do.
And you go to St. Louis, it's all baseball.
Right.
It depends on the place. But I would say also, I would bet, I don't know what you guys think, that people 30 and younger, maybe even 35 and younger, that basketball is a lot closer to football in Cleveland from that age bracket. Now, baseball is not popular for kids.
No.
Young people don't like baseball. Not that none of them do, but generally they don't. So the Guardians, I'm sure with the 60 and older crowd, have a good following. The young people are not into baseball. But I would bet if you really did a poll of people from Northeast Ohio, what do you love more, the Cavs or the Browns? Obviously, the Browns are number one. But I bet amongst 35 and younger, certainly 30 and younger, it's much closer than the general
Yeah, because
population.
they hadn't seen the winning, right? They don't know that.
Right.
And the Browns have called what I call a subculture. Like you go to the Muni lot because it's the Muni lot. You wear the Browns jerseys because it's the Browns.
It's the thing to do.
It's the thing to do. Like people would go down there if they was 1-10.
Yeah.
And
one last thing real quick. There's a lot of older people that were around for Motley and Jim Brown in other parts of the country that are not even Clevelanders,
Right.
Yeah.
that root for the Browns because they were on TV in those days.
Yep.
The Indians were never on TV nationally. They always sucked.
And the older you get, the older the fan base is, it is a part of the family.
That's
so
right.
my dad and then my grandfather, that was their team, so that's my team, right? That's who I'm with.
Yep.
Mikey.
Next one comes from friend of the show, Evan Damerel, Locked on Cavs. Would you rather have hiccups for the rest of your life or have the feeling you're about to sneeze but never sneeze for the rest of your life?
Oh, God.
Give me the hiccups because that feeling with that sneeze, I hate that. That's the worst.
I'm going to take the sneeze because I hate hiccuping. They're both awful. I wouldn't want either, but I'm taking the fake sneeze.
I learned how to deal with the fake sneeze because it would just be something I would deal with internally.
Right.
But the hiccups,
I'd lose my mind. I'd lose my mind with either. But all right, so 2 for the fake sneeze, 1 for the hiccups. Go ahead.
Next question. This is from our buddy Mason. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name for the sake of not being made fun of.
Okay.
Let's do one quarterback. Of all the Browns quarterbacks since 1999, which one would best fit in Kevin Stefanski's current offense?
You want us to give us 3 apiece or one?
No, let's
each?
do one. Let's do one apiece.
I actually think Tim Couch.
I was going to say Couch.
I was
going to say Couch.
I will give us one more than Couch.
I actually think Tim Couch is the most, until Deshaun, Tim Couch was the most talented quarterback the Browns had.
The team just was terrible.
I would think I would say Brady Quinn would do okay in this offense too. Brady Quinn don't have a really huge arm. He's more cerebral, had a little bit of athleticism, get out the pocket.
most of the Browns quarterbacks.
What was he? Where was Brady Quinn?
Oh, he's cerebral.
Was he?
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
most of the quarterbacks the Browns had 99.
that's why they sold it when they coached for the Patriots came down there. Brady Quinn's running the Patriots.
Can you imagine if you had this Browns offensive line and Nick
Charlie,
Chubb with
Weiss.
Tim Couch?
Oh, no.
He would have had some success.
He'd have some success.
No doubt.
Because he could sling it.
All right, next question. This is a good one from Tino. If you had the ability to bring a musician or comedian back from the dead so you could attend a one-night-only show, who would you pick?
It's only 2 answers.
I got 2 answers for you.
And we might be the same person.
Come on, call it.
Prince, Michael Jackson.
No, I'm not the same.
No.
Brad?
I'm doing comedian.
Yeah.
I'm bringing back Red Fox, and I'm bringing back Richard Pryor.
Well, I was gonna say Richard Pryor and George Carlin would be my 2.
Well, Richard Pryor and Red Fox was Michael Jackson and Prince of comedy. So
in terms of musician, yeah, I don't really. I mean, Michael Jackson was a great performer, but all the other stuff kind of grosses me out. So,
allegedly.
Allegedly.
We're gonna put that on there. He was allegedly before allegedly, right?
Yeah. He was the first allegedly.
He was kind of crazy. Matter of fact, Michael Jackson was the first people to have grown Korean men passing out. He showed up in a.
It was like Michael Jackson and Woody Allen.
Do you remember Mike when he walked into the courtroom with them slippers?
With them slippers, he walked in with slippers, shades. He looked like Barbra Streisand and Tina Turner all in one. And then he had a Captain Crunch suit on. He had the Captain Crunch shoulder pads, bro.
By the way, they're kind of tangentially comedians, but I would say John Candy, Chris Farley, and John Belushi.
Right.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they would be great choices.
Yeah, no question.
All right, next question. This is from Lednick, Daniel Lednick.
Lednick.
Jimmy Haslam just hired you to be the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Who are the first 2 players you're calling into your office for a meeting, and what do you say to them?
It's easy.
Wow, that's a great question. Go ahead.
It's Watson. It's Watson 1, and then it's Miles the other, right?
Yep.
Right? And I'm asking them, listen, this first of all, the thing we're saying is this, what we're doing can't work here. You're going to have to, come on, you have to up your game here. I'm going to need you to take, Miles, you're going to need to become the leader here, right? And you just lead by example, right? And vocal, right? And stop putting it off on other people. And Deshaun, I'm going to need you to be Superman here. I paid you for Superman abilities here.
Right.
Not for to be one of the Marvel comics people.
Don't be an Avenger. I want you. You got to be the captain. Like I tell Myles Garrett, look, man. I tell him how talented he is. I would tell him that I would show him game of Lawrence Taylor. I would show him game of Reggie White, and I would tell him, you got more physical talent than they do, both of them. They ain't never seen nothing like that. You have to be relentless on pass downs as well as run downs. Let me show you your PFF grade on pass rush. Let me show you what it is. I need you to be affecting the game at an all-time level. These running backs, I need you on tosses. I need you to be hitting guys. I need you to play at a level which they say, this dude, Myles Garrett, lost his mind. Then I call Deshaun Watson, and I tell him, look, dog, I need you to cut, copy, and paste everything that they do in Kansas City. You give me 20 to 30 plays that you feel like you could take from other places. I want you to get in the playbook because we're going to build this thing like Warren Moon. We're going to build it around you. Find out what you like.
I got the same two guys, but I got to be meaner.
Yeah.
I got to be like Deshaun. I need you to remember that you were the alpha dog. You were a monster in Houston playing with a bunch of scrubs, and you were awesome. You need to see a therapist because we need to get a therapist to get that guy back.
Sports psychologist.
Whatever it is. You need to talk to somebody because we got to find that guy. And Myles Garrett, I'm talking to Myles Garrett. I'm spitting, I'm drooling. I'm like, you were onto something with Lawrence Taylor. I don't care about your PFF grades. I don't give a crap. I want you to watch Lawrence Taylor. I want you to play like it's 1965. I know Lawrence Taylor didn't play like that. You got to play mean, nasty. I don't care if you get penalties. I want you to play like that quarterback slapped your mom in the face. That's how you have to play. You have to want to kill that guy. Not literally kill him, but kill him.
Allegedly.
We got to get – if Myles Garrett played with Lawrence Taylor's attitude, he'd be the greatest player in the history of the game.
I mean, he don't understand. He's supposed to be around 30-something tackles for loss. And that includes your sacks.
Right.
Like, if you're going to give me 16, all you got to do is give me 15. Tackle the ball carrier behind the line of scrimmage 15 times. I think you're that talented to do that.
Yeah.
And I would challenge him every day.
Yep.
He'd have to win every drill.
But it has to be those two guys. I mean, I was trying to think because you guys were picking those guys. I'm like, can I talk to anybody else? I mean,
You don't have to tell
what else do I tell Nick?
You're not calling Cade York into the office to stop the shenanigans on the sideline?
Amari Cooper sends you a note. What do you need,
Cade
Coach?
York, you're an effing kicker. Sit in the corner till I need you, scrub.
You send a Cade York a message when another kicker show up in the practice. So like, he'll get the message. It won't take long.
Next.
This one may tear us apart, guys.
Oh, boy.
I'm very curious your take on it. Let's see it. Mike, take it. If a snake could hold a knife, would it hold it like this or like that?
Oh, my God.
This is a very easy one. See, snakes and boa constrictors
I don't
and all
like
those.
snakes. They freak me
I don't
out.
like them either. Some people eat snake. That's disgusting. You got to go to church for that. Second of all, they say no religion. You can't say that, G. Bush. But a snake
You go to a non-denominational.
Yes. So if a snake is definitely going to use his limbs because, he uses his tail to choke people out.
Right.
And eat. So he got to eat you. And anacondas even have to use their mouth to get so he definitely is using his tail for me.
I agree.
I'm with you. There's no tearing us apart. It's got to be the tail because, as G said, first he's going to stab you, and then he's going to swallow you whole.
Yeah.
He can't swallow you whole if he's got a knife in his mouth.
Facts.
I guess he could drop the knife after that, but.
Yeah.
But you don't think, just to play contrarian here,
Yeah.
you don't think that it's going to be very limited in how it could defend itself while it's in the tail as opposed to being a snake?
mean,
if it's in the
they
mouth,
could-
it's more agile.
No,
You
I
slither
don't see
around,
that
get
that
you in the back of
See
the
how
ankle,
he
cut
try
your
to convince
Achilles.
you of what your answer is.
No, I think
stop with
a
reverse
snake's tail
psychology.
is very agile.
They're
He'd be able
very,
to move
that's how
crap around.
that's the equivalent of their legs.
You gave him facts.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are facts.
Especially because if it's in his mouth, then his head's spinning, he's getting all dizzy. If he's spinning his tail, he keep his head straight, stay focused on the target.
You see how rattlesnakes move their tail? They're rattlesnakes.
By the way,
moving,
I tried the show
Leave me
on
alone.
Peacock Network with Craig Robinson. You know who Craig Robinson is?
Daryl from The Office.
Is it? I thought Craig Robertson was a linebacker for the Browns.
No, well, he was, but that's Craig Robertson. This is
Yeah,
Craig
okay,
Robinson.
all right.
He
He's
was
the Pizza Hut guy,
He does
too.
all the Pizza Hut commercials.
Oh,
yeah.
is that his name?
Yeah, Craig Robinson. It's a funny. I stopped watching it because it was like a little too much. But in this show, he's like this guy who's trying to become an entrepreneur and make money, and he enters this contest to try to raise $20,000 to open his business, where he and this woman tag team they have to kill snakes in like the Everglades.
Oh no.
It's an odd concept, but he's very funny.
No.
And this is a very odd question, but he just is a really quick one off. Do you respect any chain pizza?
No.
Like there's not one chain Little Caesars pizza that you would eat and be like, it's not that bad.
I've eaten chain pizza when I've had like no choice.
Right.
Like when I was living in Utica, New York,
and
it's 2 in the morning and I'm hungry.
Yeah, like
I'll order pizza. But if I had to choose a chain between Pizza Hut, Domino's, Little Caesars, and Papa John's, if I had to choose, I'd go with Pizza Hut. But I think they're all crap.
What about Giordano's in Chicago?
Well, that's a little different. That's more of like a
niche.
local.
Don't they got a niche,
They got them around. They more places in Chicago.
I like Chicago style.
McNuggets, I'll give you a little touch of this too. I mean, you do live in Jersey, so you get a little.
Yeah, I mean, late night. Domino's slaps if you're coming back from the bar at 2 a.m. Like Domino's does slap.
Yeah.
You don't put ranch on it. I agree with Bull. You never put ranch on it.
Inappropriate.
Yeah, that's kind of disgusting. And if you had to do DiGiorno's or Totino's.
Oh, I would take.
Pizza rolls, you mean?
If I had to do frozen pizza, I'm taking Stouffer's French bread.
Ooh, that is good. If you put it in a little oven on it, I haven't had one in a while.
I like a nice Stouffer's French bread.
Did you guys used to get the
I can't
cheesy
tell the last time I had
breadsticks in
pizza.
elementary school as like part of your cafeteria lunch?
I can't tell you the last time.
You don't eat.
We didn't go to some hoity-toity school like you, Mikey.
They were the most disgusting little cheese sticks ever.
Who was getting
We
cheese
never had that.
I was getting sloppy joes.
Sloppy Joe's is at every little kid's party.
Mozzarella.
And by the way, you just said something under your breath. You have not eaten pizza since when?
It's been a while.
So,
You don't eat pizza, huh?
I will, but I mean.
So the mayor is
My
like,
bread's thin.
he's not eating no hot dogs. He's not eating none of that. He's not eating pizza. So I mean, he's he's a straight steak guy. You straight.
Oh, I had a good steak last night from Cabin Club.
Oh, so you
Fish,
listen,
chicken.
He's almost vegan now. Almost.
Next.
It's funny you say vegan because our next question's from Beef. What's your spirit animal?
I mean, mine's got to be a bull, right?
What's up with that picture?
I have no idea.
This is creepy. Let's take this one off as soon as possible.
Yeah. Like, we'll just read this question. Shout out to him. A grown man has his tongue all the way
yours a
out.
panda?
Of course.
That's right.
Like a panda. But by the way, did you know pandas only eat eucalyptus and bamboo, and they poop all day?
Poop?
That's all they do is poop.
Oh, I thought you said they eat poop.
No, they
don't eat meat.
no.
No.
And they just hang out and sleep.
And yet they're so big and fat. I don't get it.
That's
How they get
all
so fat
they
if
do.
they're only eating leaves?
They take
all the
these.
time?
They just eat these little bamboos and eucalyptus. And
I'd like to meet a panda.
So you're a bull. G's a panda. Brad, what's your spirit animal?
What's your spirit animal?
Man, I don't know what you're talking about.
Brad, come on, you ain't never identified like if you have you ever said like you know what, I'm a lion.
Hell no.
You ain't none of that, bro. Come on, bro. No, listen.
Nah.
A giraffe?
No, like what about like a rhino or something?
No.
No, he's like a gazelle. He's
An alligator?
Very, very graceful, running down the court.
Yeah,
All right, Brad's not having it. Let's
maybe
move
a
it.
large brain,
Next.
like a bird.
Next question is from Go Cavs Z_Cle Sports. What's one thing you guys appreciate working with each other? Give an example for everyone in the room. Thanks. No, thank you.
I like those questions. Go ahead, guys. You want to start? You want me to start?
Well, the one thing I like about everybody on this planet, even Jay, who's not here today, is that these guys are genuine. They have a understanding of the topics, and then they're gonna give you the straight honesty, right?
Yeah.
They're never gonna BS you about how they feel. I mean, you should see some of the meetings we have before the cameras click on, right? Because people are passionate about their thoughts and what they are, and we don't always agree on what is what, right? And so that's the beauty of the team that we have here is that everyone is educated enough to know what they like and what they don't like, and then they're going to be honest about it, and nobody's going to get their feelings hurt if you display that honesty.
That's the best. I think two part. One, we genuinely care for each other. Like it ain't like you know how you work with some people, you be like, I done been at places for years, 10 years, and you be like, I just work with that person. We don't eat birthday cake together or nothing. Like,
right.
I genuinely we have, concern and care for each other. And then two, like you said, it's just the fact that like everybody just stand on what they stand on. And even, the producers, everybody, the people in the panel, but the best thing in the world is when the cameras go off, we don't even be talking about that. Like, we just act like nothing happened. We don't never bring it back the next day. Ain't never no residuals. I don't be texting like, oh my God, this dude get on my. We don't even do that. So,
I was mad at Jay once.
well, there you
yeah.
There was one time I was mad at Jay.
Yeah, you were.
And we texted about it and squashed it. There was one time. I'm sure he was mad at me. But that was one time in a year. You know, like, for the most part, nobody takes anything personally. We have fun arguments. We have fun. I think that's the most important thing. We have a crap load of fun here. We're always laughing, right? We're not bored. A lot of time, a lot of people in this business just go through the motions. It's like, I got to do my job. I got to do 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever it is. We don't go through the motions. We have fun. We try to have a good time. We keep it real. We keep it honest. I agree with everything these guys said. Everybody cares about each other here. We all get along. And, in front of the cameras, behind the cameras, everybody treats everybody nicely. There's no, like, people being treated
there's
like
no
peons.
clicks.
It
ain't like 3 of you over here.
We all hate Jason Lloyd.
Everybody gets along. It's funny.
Mike Pope, shout
Nobody
out to
takes
Pope.
anything seriously. We bust each other's balls, but it comes from a good place. When you bust somebody's balls from a good place because somebody cares about you and does it for fun, then it's not a big deal. Nobody gets offended, and that's great.
I also want to say real quick while we were shouting people out, Director Mike has stepped in this week for Director
Hey,
Steve.
nice
Who's
job.
on some
Excellent.
cruise somewhere. But we got to talk about Director Steve about going on a cruise by himself as like a 65-year-old guy.
Whoa,
He's trying to get some action. Give him a break.
Whoa. Hold on. Pause. Super pause.
Well, hold on. Before we pause,
Yeah.
shout out Director Mike. He's done a killer job this
He's
week.
done
I'm going to flip the camera
excellent
over.
job this
I'll
week.
see if we can see Director Mike. I don't know. I can't see my shot.
There
That's
it is.
Director Mike.
There it
He's
is.
in for Director Steve. He's done a killer job this week.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I didn't know Director Steve was Dolo. I didn't know that was a solo. I didn't know that was a one-trip the man on Mars. Like,
He's not married.
I didn't know that.
he's and listen, we love Director Steve.
Man,
Why didn't nobody?
We just spent all this time talking about how we love each other, know each other. You didn't even know Steve wasn't married.
Well, I didn't know them. I didn't know them
guess-
TVs was back there one day. I said,
Yeah,
"Man,
that's
Nuggets,
true.
when you get them big TVs?" He said, "G. Bush, you've been here for how many months?"
Yeah.
That is true.
Those are on every single show. I said, "You lying, dog?" He said, "Bro, you gotta stop.
True story.
You freaking me out." But no, shout out to Director Steve. I would have gave you some advice when you went on that. Next time you holler at your boy. You know
He's
what I'm
definitely
saying?
got some game. Director Steve's definitely got some game.
He got to move. He got something set up. Listen, don't
The greatest thing ever would be if we heard sex stories from Director Steve.
Like,
Would that be the greatest thing ever?
bro, if he came back talking about he made out with somebody that
Oh
looked like
my
they was on
God.
the Golden Girls, I'm losing. You made out with Blanche.
I had a threesome with Blanche and Trudy. Or whatever the hell their name was.
Sophia. Hey, by the way,
Director Steven a furry. That's all we got.
Oh
say.
my
he went to
God.
OU.
If you weren't there for the overtime, you missed out.
He
on the
went to
great-
OU. He's a chip off the old
man.
block.
All right, we're gonna get to our next topic here.
Yeah.
This is from April, aka the Empress April, aka I
Yeah.
think Smartass Official on Twitter.
Yeah.
Or on the YouTube chat. But what are the worst MLB and NFL uniforms of all time?
Oh, I feel like that's huge. I will give you one.
I'll give you-
I
I'll
loved those Astros uniforms that looked like Atari, an Atari game or something like from
Oh,
the
yeah.
80s.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love those. But you're Mr. Uniform.
The uniform I hate, that neon green Seattle Seahawk thing.
Those are kind of the neon greens, and I like colors. They're kind of trash.
I can't. Cannot.
So the worst ones of all time is the Pittsburgh Steelers Hamburglar joints.
Oh.
The joints with the pinstripes over
Yeah,
the
those
top,
are
the
terrible.
brown.
Yeah.
The Packers throwback uniforms with a navy top,
those are
yellow
bad.
horrible. We could keep going. Plain doesn't mean that it's terrible. The best plain jerseys are Penn State's. The Penn State got fire jerseys.
What about the Yankees?
Yankees
I
have
hate the Yankees.
I hate the Yankees,
Yeah.
but the Yankee pinstripes get it done. Now, if I move along to the NFL, the powder blue San Diego
those are
Chargers
great.
are some of the best in the game. And I
I
will,
like the light, I don't know what the color is, but those Dolphins like blue.
Teal.
Right.
Kansas City baby blue Royals. The Kansas City,
Those are pretty sweet.
them
Yeah.
tops is crazy.
I like the Dodgers home uniforms. Those are sweet too.
I like those.
Yeah.
And then I like the old school 49ers, the throwback 49ers with the double set.
Those
Oh,
are
with
good.
the stripes.
It's a double set number. And then shout out
What
to
about
those.
basketball? We don't talk about basketball as much in terms of
The basketball.
I like the old Raptors jerseys.
No.
The old Jazz jerseys.
No.
The old Raptors with like the Raptor, the weird.
I love that logo.
I think those are
So,
awful.
so here's the
and the Sonics.
The Sonics, they got a weird colorway, but the best of all times, and I'm sorry, I've been trying to tell myself I ain't gonna go get it.
Yeah.
But first of all, the Cavs creamsicle joints with the Cavs shooting shirts, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm in the shooting shirts. They got a 1992 Chicago Bulls authentic snap down tearaway joint with the bull on the shoulder.
sleeve, yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's tough.
I got them in my closet.
I
How about like
bring
the
that in.
1980s Denver Nuggets. What do you think of those?
With the rainbow, it's like the rainbow effect. That's like the Astros of those. But I will give you another person that I love these to this day. If you can get the first team USA, the USA with the block, you can Jordan number 9, you get you one of them. I'm always a big fan. I'm actually a big fan of the Celtics whites. They classic.
The traditional Lakers jerseys.
Traditional Lakers jerseys. So yeah.
All right, Mikey. Good rundown there.
Okay, next one. This is from RC. Are you a fan of the NFL allowing players to wear any number they want now? Example, Reggie Ragland, a linebacker wearing number 19.
I'm fine. I don't care. What do you say, G?
Listen, I'm cool with it. I think it's dope in college. It takes a little bit of time to get used to it in the pros because it's very stringent. Like, I'm used to a very traditional 80s, and you wear that. But I'm cool with it. I ain't got a problem with
Brad,
it.
you got any problem with it?
No, the number doesn't bother me at all. I mean, I like to see it flipped around.
Mess around with it, ain't no problem.
Because another thing I tell you, as a player, you grew up with a number. That's how you identify yourself as a player.
Right.
And when you go to a place that restricts you from being able to do that,
it stinks.
some people it takes away from.
Yeah.
I do want to see people bring back the Flutie 21. I like to see 20s as a quarterback.
21,
No, that's hideous.
John Hadel.
Yeah.
John Hadel.
You look so slow as a quarterback at number 21.
He was
Right,
slow.
he was.
Go ahead, Mikey. Next.
All right, next we got 10 minutes, so we're gonna try to get through as many of these. As we
All
can. This one be quick, but we got to go one by one here. How'd you get into sports media?
Well, I mean, it's something I always wanted to do. I really never want. I mean, the only thing I've ever wanted to do as a kid, I wanted to be a baseball player. Then I realized that at some point I wasn't good enough. And then I always wanted to be in sports media. I really wanted to be a baseball play-by-play guy. That was really my ultimate dream. But when I was younger, there really was no sports talk. Sports talk didn't start in New York until like 87. Mm-hmm. And so then when I was a little older, I was like, ooh, I could do that. I think I'd be good at that. And so I've never really wanted to do anything else. I got started by doing it in college when I went back to school in my mid-20s and then got my first radio job with a minor league baseball team in 1999.
G, what about you?
Well, everybody know my story. You supposed to know that. I started from the bottom, now I'm here. Started from the bottom, not the whole crew.
Go ahead, Drake.
I was.
We're gonna get sued. This whole show is gonna be copyrighted.
What was the other part of that question besides what we?
What's everyone's background and how'd you get into sports media?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
so I played football, got hurt a bunch. I got degrees, and then when I was 30 or so, I was unemployed for like the first time. I saw something on TV. They said, "Hey, you want to go to Ohio Media School?" I couldn't get no money because I already had a degree. So I took all the money I had, put it in, went to Ohio Media School, started a YouTube page, and then years later, your boy is in the building.
Your boy. And then I think for me, I think I had just retired and I was just working. And then Channel 3 asked me to come here and do some weekend stuff.
When you say you was working, what was you doing?
I was doing development work at City of Warrensville. I was working.
He was really
I was
working.
9 to 5 working. Right?
That's crazy.
And so then I would come down here on the weekend. They didn't pay. I was just giving some commentary on the Cavaliers. And then that led me to, I believe, Channel 5. And I was doing some stuff at Channel 5 with Andy Baskin. And we were doing the Cavaliers updates and NBA updates. And then out of the blue, the Cavaliers, Joe Tate took ill, and they needed a guy to fill in for Tate because they were moving Jim Jones up on the radio. And so they asked me to stay for a couple months, right?
Yeah.
And I stayed for a couple months. Now that's 13 years later, right? And that's how I really got started. And that led to other things. I've done NBA playoff games. I've done a bunch of things, right? And so it's just about being in a space where you knew the information and the backdrop and being able to convey it. So
Beautiful. Well, this is the show where we make dreams come true. Bull, you always wanted to be a play-by-play guy, so this next question is perfect for you. From Martian, can Bull do a quick play-by-play of the movie Groundhog's Day?
How would I do?
Like, is that a summary?
Play-by-play.
What's a summary of it, or?
I'll just tell you what people ask.
Like, do it.
And Punxsutawney Phil has come out of his hole, or what is he? He's a tree trunk. Comes out of the tree trunk. He's looking around. Oh, he looks to the left. Wait a second. Hold on a minute. He's looking now to the right. Does he see his shadow, Johnny? Johnny, do you think he hit it? I don't know. It's going to be close. Way back. It's gone. He's seen his shadow. 6 more weeks of awful winter.
I think you wanted the movie, not like Groundhog's Day.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay. Well,
But that
that's
was
what we
great.
got.
You know what? That was really good, Bull. I appreciate it.
I miss not doing play-by-play.
Does anyone else want to attempt doing play-by-play?
no, I'm not a play-by-play guy.
This is question 2 from Aaron Wheeler.
Groundhog Day, the movie, is awesome, by the way.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it
You're
is.
a highly recruited college player and have your choice of NIL deals. What 2 companies would you like to sign with?
Oh.
It's real easy.
It's easy.
It'd be the company I started, right? Because we just had the attorney on the other day, right? The NIL deal is really only going to work. You're empowering young people to basically run their own corporation, their own company, right? And the only way you can do that if you have hands-on control of the company. Right? Otherwise, you are now in bed with everybody else selling and doing the work for you, and you're just happy to take the few kibbles and bits that come your way. And so, Aaron, I'm only signing with my own company, right? And then my own company can be me and G and Bull. We'll start a company, right?
Yeah.
And we'll market that company. And you gonna come see me, G and Bull, instead of going to
That's right.
University X to tell me how many kibbles and bits you're gonna pay me.
That's right.
Yeah, there's only 2. There's one company. Shout out to Jordan. I went to Jordan deal, either the Jordan or Nike deal. And then, you know what I do? You know, like I always say, I sign myself. Give me the barbershop deal.
There you go.
Merchandise everywhere. Podcasts. Coming into this place, you the barbershop tour. Yeah, I got 75 shows. I got them right now. Hey, holla at your boy.
By the way, for me, very easy. Magnum Condoms and Jugs Magazine. Those would be my 2 choices.
I had to take my
I'd like to be
earpiece
the
out.
spokesman for Jugs.
I had to take my earpiece out on that one.
Great answer.
The Magnoniums.
Long doggies.
My answer, PCC and BetJack.
Yeah.
All right.
I like that, too.
NIL,
Class it up.
man.
All right, we got time for, I think, 2 more. We might actually finish all 25. If
You're saying
Washington,
Jugs Magazine is not classy? Is that what you're trying to
Yeah,
say?
right.
I think
we
it's
got,
very
we have
classy.
4.5
Go ahead.
minutes. If Washington franchise tags Deron Payne, would you call them and offer a 2nd or 3rd rounder for him and offer him a contract? Or would you call the Colts to offer them a 2nd or 3rd rounder for Darius Leonard?
If they're going
Quick.
to franchise tag him, why would they trade him for a 2nd or 3rd round? Doesn't
they're
make
not.
any sense.
But, and you're not getting.
Of course I would do it, but
not
they
getting
wouldn't do
them.
that.
And you're not getting
just-
that. Stop. And by the way, you can't get a 2nd and a 3rd. We ain't got no picks.
See, that's what I don't like about this franchise. At least in the NBA, they used to have these restricted free agents.
Yeah.
And you can offer them now and try to price
Offer
them out,
sheet,
price
price
them
somebody
out of the town.
Yeah.
That's what the key is.
Right,
Let me
right.
try to price you out of here.
Next.
From 75 years and counting, should they bring Chief Wahoo and the Indians' name back?
No.
No.
I think that ship is sailed.
That's
Come on
done.
now.
Come on. That's done.
All right, next one.
I think there's at least a debate that could be made on whether Indians is offensive or not. There's no debate about Chief Wahoo being offensive.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
the Chief Watt, they was phasing him out a couple years ago.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
done.
Get over it.
Last one.
Yeah.
Love the show, but why does the panel never talk hockey?
One, we don't have an NHL team here.
Right.
I mean, we don't talk about golf either. I don't know.
Or
about you. I'm not going
NASCAR.
to speak for you guys, but I don't know crap about hockey.
I don't.
You remember Polk's final take about hockey that one day?
Yes.
It was so funny.
So yeah.
I don't know anything about hockey.
Yeah, hockey is not.
That's when you bring in a consultant. to
Yeah,
talk
you
hockey.
bring that. Now look. if
Nobody
you-
for the most part, no mainstream sports talks hockey. It's a niche sport that you go to NHL radio or whatever if you love hockey. Nobody talks hockey.
Even ESPN only brings Barry Melrose in after, like, for the NHL.
Right.
And they don't even show the whole games. I mean, well, they kind of put them back on, but yeah, it's a niche sport. We don't talk soccer.
Unless
we don't talk a lot of it.
Listen, I worked in New York for 5 years where they have 3 NHL teams.
Yeah.
I never talked hockey once. Not once. And nobody does. The only markets I think they ever talk hockey are maybe like Detroit.
Canada.
And obviously Canada and maybe Boston, but I don't know. I mean,
Boston is a thing in hockey's a thing in Boston.
most mainstream sports talk people don't know anything about hockey. And we're not phonies, so we're not going to talk
literally
about
45 seconds. This
say
is
we're
from
not
Director
phonies.
Mike. How excited are you guys for the Akron-Kent State basketball game tonight?
Had no idea what was happening.
Shout out to Kent and Akron.
You the Mac man. Come on.
I'm a
man.
Mac guy. They're going to pass the ball around the key about 100 times and
What's
clap
the
it
spread
up
on this
strong.
game? Do we know?
Mike, what's the spread? Mike doesn't know.
Where they playing? Is it Akron
Is
or
it at the
Kent?
Jar?
Is it at the
In
Jar?
Akron.
Oh, it's at the
It's
Jar.
at the Jar. It's 59-53. I'm going to go with Akron over
Yeah, I'm
Kent.
going. I love that Akron squad. I don't know a single player on it, but I love it.
Brad, you want to make a pick? Both teams are 8-1 in the MAC coming into this.
Ooh, that's actually
No, it's
impressive.
here.
Are you going to that, Mike?
The Akron and Kent is always a good matchup.
Yeah,
right?
they are.
Right? So,
Throw out the records when Akron and Kent are playing.
Shout out my man Jared Perino.
Who's that?
He played for Kent.
Kent keeps a nice team. But so
Kent player.
Yeah, he went to Massillon and all. Shout out to Antonio Gates. We all know a Kent player.
Yeah, shout out Antonio Gates.
Yeah, but that was 100 years ago when he played.
I don't care. So was Jared Perino.
And they went to 100, and they went to an Elite Eight.
Yeah.
Like people
Speaking of
got
which,
checks.
isn't the Cleveland State women's basketball team really great?
Yeah, they're first place in the
Shout
horizon.
out to
Very
them,
good.
too.
We got 5 seconds.
We'll see
Thank
you on overtime next. We love you. Have a great weekend.
Yes.